I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Recruitment Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Hello. Good morning. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am Manningsman. Hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic information, right, people? And I want you to know that after I created the thumbnail, right, put it up, doing the introductory song, let me just get this out. I got a call from London, England. Yes. And we were on the phone for around 15 minutes. And I have received some fantastic news concerning the Reggae Boyz. Yes. And you know I have my sources in England. And this is about players. So, I have a thumbnail. So I'm here considering, should I share that information in this video, or should I do a video later with that? You the people decide, right? If this video goes viral, like over 100 views, maybe we'll do it now. But if not, we will save it for later. But some good news concerning our senior men's team. Yeah, maybe I should do a breaking news show. I know that everybody going to be calling around trying to figure out what is happening. So maybe somebody will break it before me. But I have a big deal lined up. You understand me? 3-piece and chips for the Reggae Boyz. But we want to stick. We have to stick to the script. But let's get back to how we normally start, which is always to give thanks for life. You understand me? In all that we do, in all that we are, and where we are at, we just have to give thanks. And one of these days, I have some dear friend of mine that we grew up together, university, church, school, whatever, and I have this friend of mine, very, 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 very dear friend of mine. And I think she has one of the most inspirational stories out there. inspirational stories, and I'm hoping that I can convince her. She's actually doing a book that I know is going to do great. She's a Christian young lady, and she has had some adversity, but her story um, will make you have hope and make you cry and make you smile. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous um, mother. So I'm hoping that I can somehow convince her to share her story one day. Stories that inspires. I think we're going to have to create a segment for doing that. On today's show, as you see, we will have with us Mr. Wayne Thompson. Sorry, Wayne Thompson is the president for the uh, St. Thomas Football Association. He will be here. Um, we're going to talk about the big showdown at Drax. We're going to have Michael Tullo going to be talking to us about that. There's a Portmore versus Mount Pleasant rescheduled game on today, and we're going to talk about the Lynx Cup game. All right, but big up to everyone in the comment section. Andrew, Mirak, Duckland, Fresh God, Jason, Sure Improvement, Brian Mighton, Dwight Spence, you know, and all the others. Chris, Fabian Full, up, 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 up. All right. And so big up to those who are also watching. You have not yet hit the like button. Go ahead and do so. You may not have made a comment. Go ahead and do so. But I am doing this, right? So I would love for you to do this as well. Right now, just send the stream to 5 persons who you know are you suspect have not yet subscribed to that platform. All right? Go ahead and do that. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm sending this out to them. This will not be a long show today, but I'm hoping. Let's see. Let's see how many likes we can get. Fresh God, whenever we get 100 likes on the video, then I will drop that little bit of information. Not that little bit, that big deal that I just got a call. This is unbelievable. If I had just gotten that call an hour before, I would have done the show on the matter. But seeing that I got it afterwards, I have no choice but to, do it afterwards. All right. So big up, big up, big up one, big up all. And again, glad that you're here. Thanks for joining. So let me go back to what I was saying. So whenever we start, um, the show, it's important that we think about, just the fact that there is a creator. I mean, sometimes you have a different name for him. I'm not trying to get people to be religious, but understand that there must be, uh, if you take the fish out of the water, the fish dies because that's where the fish was purpose and created to live. If you take the plant out of the ground, the plant dies because the plant is sustained by remaining in the place that it was created from. And so is man. Man came from a creator God. And if man failed to exist in the place that he's created, man will also slowly die. I want you to consider that. I want you to consider that anything taken out of its created environment will eventually die. The best place a man to be is in the place from where man was created, which is from the breath of the creator God. Look to the hills continually, because it's from the hills where your help comes, and your help comes from the Lord. And we ask every day that we are not reactionary, but we are proactive in all our approaches. We seek wisdom because it is the right way. So big up on yourself, one and all. What's going on out there? All right. We're going to make some contacts. Let's first see if we can get our first guest on so we can get through these matters. And once we have gotten through them, then we will determine. So Fresh God, just keep me up to date with the lights and stuff, how far we are on that matter. And as soon as we are up at that level, then we will do that. But listen, I've been tracking, so I got the information about the reggae girls, right? There's something that I don't like about the female program, right? I I oftentimes say this, and I try not to talk about female football because I have found that I don't know. There's a difficulty. I feel like if you speak about the female game, it comes across as being very offensive to them. And I've been told that we're not supposed to we're supposed to just watch and help the girls. We're not so you're not if they don't play good, basically it it is understood that you're not supposed to say they don't play good because they are females and they don't deal with that sort of thing well. And I respect that. I don't agree with it, but I respect that. So oftentimes, definitely Christopher, right? No, man, this is on topic, man. We'll definitely pray for her. Definitely, definitely. Big up Sure Improvement. And like I said, tomorrow, people, Sure Improvement lost her wallet in a bus. Don't know if she has received it yet. She lost money that was supposed to help towards her rent. So we want to do that, right? So if we have male players who are overweight, we can talk about it, but you can't really say that about females. So a lot of persons, though they want to be engaged in female football, they don't talk about female football because it's very difficult. All right. So like I get a lot of information though about the female football, but I don't want to talk about it because the things that generally they wanted to speak about is to advocate on their behalf, which is fine. I can do that. So if I advocate on their behalf and something goes wrong, then I must be willing to say, listen, that player didn't play well. I don't think that player is good enough. And say it in a respectful way, because that's how we deal with the male side of the football. And if I'm wrong, I will ask somebody involved in female football at the national level to speak to me. So you will realize a lot of our females don't communicate to the local press. So I remember like the under 20 team that we had, even the senior team. So I remember the senior team in the earlier stages when they were struggling and people talk about them. A lot of them I understood were offended because they felt like the media was criticizing them when people don't support the football. All right, that's how they feel. I am not going to knock them for that. What am I getting to? So and like I said, I don't know all things. I can only tell you from my experience. So before this whole thing, I heard about everything leading up to the team going in Australia and all of that, but I refuse to speak about it. You will see, for example, that there is a 75,000 US that the Reggae Girls Foundation is trying to raise, and I think they are at 38,000 US dollars. That is the Reggae Girls Foundation trying to raise that for the World Cup itself. But one of the big issues I have, is this: that there is this notion that there is female money and there is male money. All right, management don't subscribe to that notion. Here's what I believe. You see, when the females when the females need resources, they should be given the resources. You see, when the male need resources to compete, they must be provided with the resources. But no money should be female money or male money unless FIFA unless FIFA says this must go only to female football, this must go only to male football, this must go only to under 15 football. Anytime there is legitimate cause for the girls to get money, it must be made available, because the truth is, the girls, in terms of qualification, even if you want to say the path for the girls is easier, they have qualified for 2 World Cups. We can go back and say, well, the men have had qualifications, multiple qualifications at the youth level. The girls have had 2 qualifications on the senior level. They deserve the best that we can offer. So if our men get to fly to Mexico when they have a game on a chartered flight, I expect that that is the kind of treatment that the girls will get when they are traveling. All right? Many people are saying there should be equal pay. I am not going to argue that. If the girls believe that they are supposed to get the same amount of money as the men, then give them. But just know that the same level of expectation will be on you. And can you bear the burden of the kind of monies you are receiving? All right? So follow me. However, when it comes on to what monies are available, we cannot separate the male team. So the male team goes to the Gold Cup and win it. That money cannot be for male football alone. Monies from that must go towards the female game. That's how I see it. If the male team goes to the World Cup and get billions of dollars, it must be given to all football programs managed and run by the GFF, not just on male football. So if the female team goes to the World Cup and get $10 million, that money must be spent on football in general. All right? I personally, because every time I talk to parents in particular of players who play on any one of our female teams, they all say that the men are treated better than the women in our sport. And I cannot agree with that. Let me tell you this. The men, they have played just like the girls and not gotten their salaries. The men, just like the girls, have had to strike. The men have gone places and have been left stranded. We have men who have slept in airport. I don't want to go back to it, but remember even Maggie was left and nobody knew where he was. Remember, our men in trying to negotiate felt like they were disrespected. So I don't believe that the men are given preferential treatment. I want you to hear me. I don't believe so. So the onus is on the JFF to ensure that the needs of the team are met. Here is the thing then. If what transpired in England, what came out of the camp, and what Mr. Chung said last night, if both things don't reconcile, the coach, Mr. Lorne Donaldson, needs to come out public. On the right hand is Mr. Chung. On the left hand is Mr. Ricketts. And all 3 of them must sit down and be questioned by the press about what was said and what is the truth. Because if nothing of the sort occurred and it was said it should not be swept under the carpet. Whomever is responsible for that must be brought to account. That is how we're going to change the system. That people must begin to be held responsible for their actions. So listen to me. If I fail, I tell my people, listen, you cannot condone, but don't condemn. I'm not asking for anyone to be condemned, but it cannot be condoned. If Jamaica was indeed supposed to play Cameroon, if it is indeed true that there were plans in place for the staff at Leicester City to help the girls, and then someone came out and said, if it is that the arrangement was the people don't have the visa and won't get there, the staff at Leicester City will be available to help. And that was agreed on. And then someone after that still came out and said, the support staff is not here. That cannot be accepted. It means that somebody is telling a lie, or there is no respect for somebody. Right? I see someone here saying, Sure Improvement saying, I used to play female football, yes, and the male were given scholarships, and females were doing better. Who were doing better wasn't getting it. To get a footwear, it was an issue to get. I want intercal football. But here's the truth. But who a college gives their scholarship to, is not really a JFF matter. I'm talking about from the JFF standpoint, because that's what I have to talk to. I have to talk to it from a national. Well, people, let me just mute. Let me mute people. All right? You hearing me, people? Don't tell me you're hearing me before now. Yo, me have to end the show. Me have to end the show. Yo, me can't believe it. Yo. Yo. And what just happened? You hear that? All right. Hey. Yeah, people, wanna die hear me? Jano Star. Yo, people, me have to end the show. People, yo, wanna hear everything? Yo, me have to end the show. Me have to end the show, people. Me have to... A lie. yo, me gonna make this video private. Big up Ryan LMC. Yo, Ryan LMC a sample. Ryan LMC a sample. Yo, they tell us still. Anytime I feel down, right? Me just listen to one of Ryan show. The man lift me up, me tell you. Anytime I feel down, me just find elite sport. And me get elite upliftment. Me I tell you that. Big up Ryan LFC. What's up, my beautiful people? Yeah. All right. So a lot of things are being said about. Let me ask you a question. All right. So all right. We're going to have our first guest. So finally our guest is going to be here. So let's make a call and get our guest on, and then we'll get back to this. Because, hey, people, hey, if you want to work for an international organization, go get a visa. First thing I'm going to tell you. If you're a big coach, go get your visa. Apply for visa. If you are a coach, if you work for the government, go get a visa. If the people who employ you can help, but go get a visa. That me I say. That man is man I say. In as much as I believe that, hold on there. People have hold on a sec, because me have an important guest. So me soon call back. Don't worry yourself. Me soon call back all on it. But you see the guest, I have to talk to the guests because they are holding, and I don't want to miss this moment. All right. This is Wayne Thompson. So let's see if we can get him on. Tell me if you're hearing, people. I soon take the call and get you guys on. All right.
Get the visa. Apply for visa.
If
you are a coach.
Hello, Mr. Wayne Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What? Good morning. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. You're live on air, sir.
Morning. It's a pleasure, management. It's really a pleasure to be here in a different environment, I must say.
Wonderful.
I want to really commend you and the listeners. This is an avenue, I would think, where we can communicate to grow the sport.
Awesome. We appreciate that, man. And I think this is the first time I'm actually seeing you participate verbally on one of these platforms. I know you are an avid listener to most of the YouTubers. I call them independent content creators.
Yeah, so one of the reasons for that is for any business, you have to keep in touch with your stakeholders. So it is for conflicting reason in a sense, because I do believe that is an avenue in which you can stay in tune, see what is happening, and use those things to strategize. When you make comments, don't believe that these comments, don't treat them lightly, because we listen to the program, all the programs, and I think it's important for us and our development in terms of the past.
Wonderful. I mean, how long have you been the president for the parish in St. Thomas?
St. Thomas?
Yeah. So how long have you? Too long. Are you suggesting that you're planning on not seeking re-election?
Well, I have announced my resignation. The last 4 years I did, because I felt it was important that we have renewal in the football. And there comes a time to football is tiring, I know sometimes we believe that it is an easy job. It's easy to speak about it when you're on the outside, but it is a difficult job, and it's not that you're being paid for it. But it's a way of giving back, and it was my way of giving back. But I think we need to have renewal in the sport. It's not that I'm leaving it for good, it's just that I'm basically giving up the position. So I did it last year. I did announce it the last 4 years ago, before this new cycle. Persons didn't take me seriously, because I think at the time it wasn't strategic, because it was just before the AGM. But I've given enough notice this time around, because our AGM will be about 90 days after that of the JFF. So it gives us time to have the conversation, with the members who will take over. And I'm hoping that we can transition in a very professional way, because I think that has hurt the sport in a big way, where we think that we have to have these elections and create more challenges for the sport. So I'm hoping that we can transition properly, and I'm prepared to be there to guide the process, not just in the immediate future, but somewhere down the road. But we need to have
renewal. Yeah, I'm very glad that you've taken that approach, because if I just go by just what I know that Everton Tomlinson has been in Westmoreland for a while. Samuels have been in Hanover for a while. Malcolm has been in St. Elizabeth for a while. Uh, Beckford has been in St. Anne for a while. That's for the parishes right there. I think the same thing for Portland. And you have been in St. Thomas for a while. So that's like 6 right there. I think St. Mary's probably the same thing. So a lot of the parishes, in terms of the FA's leadership, it has been the same person, and it is good that person, like for you, you can make the voluntary decision to uh to 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 train or develop someone who can continue the process of growth and transition that very well without going through an electoral process where you feel you have to fight to be back in it and then you lose or you win again and it's a next cycle. So I must commend you on that you have initiated the process of renewal in the parish, starting with you and seeking to hand over to someone else at some point and making sure that the transition is right for the parish. So let me commend you on that.
Management, let me just make a point here, though. We have to understand the maturity of the sport. The sport is driven a lot by volunteerism. So it's not the traditional business where you have persons who are driving the sport who are employed. For the most part, it is volunteerism. And while you may have spoken about those guys who would have spent a long time, including myself, sometimes it is the voice behind the scenes that are saying you can't leave the sport at this time. You have to stay.
Okay.
You have to give the directors or parish presidents that benefit, because many of them would love to leave the sport, but there are voices behind the scenes that are saying, no, you can't leave at this time because we need your support. I do appreciate also that many of us are not prepared to come into the sport, believe it or not, because volunteerism is not easy management. It is dying, actually, and persons may believe that there are significant benefits as parish presidents. And I'm not saying that we don't have benefits, because that is why we're there. The benefits, though, is the satisfaction that is derived by ensuring that we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. I would say though, but and I appreciate that point as well, because you're right. There are some persons in the parishes who will say, no, you can't leave right now, because if you leave, who next, right? But there is also a growing sentiment in society that, and they use primarily the relationship of a toxic relationship, the situation of a toxic relationship, where they will often say, if you are in a toxic relationship, you don't wait until you find someone new before you end the toxic relationship. You end it, and then and then you begin to pursue someone new, but you don't say, let me stay in the toxic until something new comes. So there is that growing sentiment as well. But let me just ask this, because I remember in my younger days that I was one of those persons who would travel to like White Horses when they were in the Premier League. I've gone to I remember when one of the Barnes was a part of the JDF, and I would travel with my youth clubs all the way up there to play practice game, and we'd stop at the bars in St. Thomas. You have had team like Portmore United, but I mean, for many years now, we haven't seen the emergence of a team from St. Thomas in the top flight on a consistent basis. We haven't seen the Titchfields performing well. I think the last team out of that side who did well was the Alvas Powell team. What is really happening, and what is the state of St. Thomas football from your perspective?
Right. So I'm happy for that question, management. You would have benefited, I would say, from the glory days of our football in terms of Portmore. There was also the White Horses upliftment. They would have benefited from the Premier League.
Yes.
And I'm sure you would have recalled what happened to White Horses, because remember, they were doing well at the time, but they lost, I think, 9 points, and thereafter it was a struggle.
Yes, yeah, right. They were
Right.
deducted some points when they got relegated. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember the cause, but I know that happened. Yeah.
Yes, using up. I think they used an ineligible player at the time, and they played. They had won 3 games. Now, so those glory days, would love to have them back, and I think part of the challenge that we're having, because we have to do our own assessment of the football, and which is one of the reasons why I try to apply, along with my colleagues, the executives, a business approach based on what we would have learned and how we would have trained. Because strategic planning is big for us because we tend to be very emotional, even when we speak to our stakeholders. It is about what the stakeholders think, but not necessarily what is documented and what we have agreed to. And I do appreciate there has to be a point where the conversation in terms of our planning has to be extended beyond the immediate stakeholders. But again, that is part of the challenge with the football. Sometimes these stakeholders are not readily available. But would love to reflect. And we knew that we used to play Premier League football. And if we should use that as a measuring stick to determine how well the parish is doing, I think we would be misinterpreting, some of the good things that we would have done and how well we would have performed. Yes, we would have done badly in some instances, but we had set some targets. We recognized that we needed to put our administrative machine in place because, trust me, and anybody who's involved in business, if the foundation is not strong, it's going to be difficult. Very, very difficult. It's not sustainable. So one of the things that we have done since that glory time is to look at our administrative structure. We have been working with the clubs. Clearly, we had to have something to create some level of confidence in the stakeholders. What we did, and this was done really strategic when I was elected in 2009, was to bring back night football in the parish. And I think that would have revolutionized our football. And I say this because the spectator support was massive. In fact, we have documentation where persons would have had their own testimonial as to how well this thing was done, because many persons from all over would have journeyed to the parish on a Wednesday night to see what is happening. And we have to get back there. Part of the thing also was to ensure that we, yes, get back to the Premier League, but one of the things we do recognize is the fact that working from ground up is not easy. Clubs have to be operating as a business, and I think we have struggled over the years to treat with some of those things. Looking back at some of the lessons we would have learned from Tony Barrett, when you would have pioneered the whole business of football.
Yeah.
So one of the things, so where we are now, and I'm happy to report, when the JFF worked with the, I don't know if you remember that collegiate committee. Sorry, I'm trying to get my charger, so you may hear some disturbance here.
Not a problem.
You remember that discussion we had when that MOU was established, and it was almost like a checkpoint to see where we were, but we needed to move in a particular direction. We, out of St. Thomas, well, being part of that committee, that collegiate that was chaired by Mr. Samuda, we decided that we wanted to be the guinea pig in many of these discussions that were happening. It was easy. So, for example, we knew that we had to operate as legal entities, not just the St. Thomas Football Association itself, but all the members. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult, but I'm happy to report based on our plan that we did, because we also had our strategic planning sessions, and even with our operational plan that we would have established for this year, I am seeing 80% of the clubs have now been registered, and probably another 20% will be registered by the end of May.
Oh, that's on the Connect, on the new Connect. That's on the new Connect system.
So that's a different conversation, because St. Thomas would have been the only parish at one time that would have used the FIFA Connect system as mandatory, meaning if the players weren't registered on it, they couldn't play. And the reason why we did that, it was a painful experience, but we did it because it was during COVID, mind you.
Right.
We had the time to, we weren't competing with football on the field. So we had time now to focus on strengthening our environment. So all our players at the Major League, and remember now, we were the second parish to have started our Major League. Thanks to our sponsor who stuck with us, that's separate through the surge. We were the first parish to have used the FIFA Connect system as mandatory. Again, in sport, you cannot be a coward, because we were coming under pressure, serious pressure. And if we think about the politics, sometimes you're not able to, drive certain pro-growth program. But we had to put some of these things in front, and I'm happy to report that notwithstanding the difficult conversation, all our clubs are registered, and the system is being used as mandatory.
All right. Do you have an estimated? Just a couple of questions I need to ask to figure out something, because I have some St. Thomas people in here now. We have one of them. He's a big baller from there, big coach right now. We Blocks, Jermaine Miller. You know him very well.
Jermaine?
Yeah, there you go. So,
Jermaine is one of my boys.
All right.
So I know he's a man now, but Jermaine is one of the bright sparks that came out of
I would say spark, but I don't know about the bright part. I'm just kidding.
No, and Jermaine, by the way, Jermaine was a good footballer, and I think he could have made it to another level. He played for Arnett at some point, but I think he's one of those players I would say did not maximize
his potential. Yeah.
But he's a good player.
But what is the population size of St. Thomas? Just do you have an estimated amount, like the total population of St. Thomas?
90,000 plus.
All right.
And I'm happy to ask that question. And
because there's a reason, because I want to ask a couple of questions. So even if we put it at 100,000 and we assume that 50,000, like half the population, right, are involved in football. Let's go at half, 50,000 people, the population. Because now when you consider the young, the elderly, the sick, all of those things, it's probably way less. But we're going to give go way over the amount, 50,000. If there are 50,000, what is a realistic amount of club that should be operating, knowing that in the parish alone, the total fan base available for all the clubs is 50,000 people to make them profitable business?
Right. I'm gonna answer the question directly, but I want to take you to another level. Remember now that we may have 90,000 people in the parish, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the people who are appealing to would be 90,000, because you have persons in the diaspora who have expressed their own interest, and you have persons in other parishes who would have seen the football, not only for the fact that you're playing the game, but for entertainment.
Yeah, man, definitely. You have people from all over follow it. So that I understand.
But coming back to that question, and I'm going to put it this way. When Morgan Heritage came to St. Thomas somewhere about the time when I took over, his vision was that we don't need more than 6 teams in the parish. And I was with that. with that, because we realized that the resources, not just financial resources, were limited.
Player availability. There you go.
Player availability. We have produced many players though, even though the parish is like that. And
Yes.
sometimes they can't really use the population to determine how well we're doing and the quality of the players. Because if you look, there was a time when the foreign-based players were here, back in the 2000s. There was always a player from St. Thomas on the team.
Definitely,
As
man. Some
opposed
of
to
our
other
top
parishes.
footballers,
As
Jeremy
opposed
and
to
you,
other
a lot of
parishes.
these guys are
Brilliant. They
from
are
St.
brilliant.
Thomas
Yes.
and they came over.
Right.
Breckenridge.
Yes, Breckenridge.
Yeah. So
Jeremy and you, the whole of them.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
But the point is important, because when we start to have these conversations, and we would have done it even at the commercial level, our friends would say, Wayne, with 90,000 people, what is the benefit to be derived? And with so many teams playing, and we have to expend this amount of money, what sense it makes? So from a business perspective, the conversation is real. And for me, I would have loved to have had probably about 6 teams to support the process and the idea and the vision of the Marvin Heritage.
Yes.
But in an environment where there are different stakeholders with different interests, you don't just make decisions like that. And we were hoping that over time, the numbers would have been reduced to about 8. It is my feeling, though, that at this point, we could be heading to 8, while there is the maximum limit of 12. Reason for that, you have to meet certain requirements. And I think the requirements in terms of being a legal entity, that one is a big one, even though I know the clubs are doing well in that regard. But you also have to play the under-17 competition. 2 teams did not play, including my team from our team. So in that regard, we're going to be moving to about 10. And I think over time, as we seek to look at business and how we can thrive as a business, especially with these companies and people looking at, and the clubs looking at things from a different perspective and being more knowledgeable, I think that will help to drive the conversation from this big number to a smaller number where we can realize a greater value in terms of the football.
Yeah, and I think so, because
but the conversation is not easy, management.
It's not a tough one, because
when you're dealing with stakeholders, you have to.
Yeah, and then let me say it this way, because there is also, and this is where we need to make a distinction, because the truth is, football also serves in our country as a social vehicle in terms of the political arm of our country, the religious arm of our country, the relationship arm of our country. Meaning, there are some communities that for building relationships, football is that vehicle, the corner leagues, and out of a corner league, a new team is established and all of that. The issue, though, I think we have is that we can have the elite level clubs and keep it at a certain amount. And then you can have other grassroots leagues that people play. But that way more resources are available to the 8 teams. That means any one of them have all the resources they need to go from your league to the tier 2 into the Premier League and be a sustainable club, sustainable business module in the Premier League, which would then benefit St. Thomas. I'm of the opinion that the best team in the parish should probably be given some of the better talents to qualify, to lift the value of the parish, and that is sustained. And then we build out some other teams after that. It's very hard because you have communities, again, you have the political arm of the nation. So I know how complicated it is, but even if you say all 100,000 people are available, if you have a team, that's 10,000 persons per team. And then you have your lower tier.
Right. So there has to be we have to, first of all, we need to recognize that we have different stakeholders who are driven by different interests.
Yes.
And you would have mentioned some of these. Now, and that is where the conversation becomes difficult, but it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because you would appreciate that our culture was more dependent on volunteerism. What comes with volunteerism is a more territorial approach.
Yes.
And you can't blame people for that. But we have to move to a more commercial type thinking, where the thinking is about profit or capital, which will drive a different conversation. Because
Absolutely.
when you start to think business-like, you may want to give up some of those thinking that are preventing clubs from merging. But I think the conversation is being had. Registering the organizations as companies has helped a lot. I think the clubs are listening, and we are also listening on an executive. And it's not a comfortable environment, because I must tell you, I have to confess that St. Thomas Football Association has stretched the clubs administratively, because we realize that if you are strong in terms of administrative management, your sustainability will be greater.
Yes.
And you will achieve a lot more, and you will think differently. So those are the kind of mindset that is the mindset change, or the mind change that is needed. And it cannot just happen at the local level, because if the culture is not changing at the top level, then it's going to be difficult for us to gain in that regard. So I'm happy that the conversation is even happening at the JFF level. Though you guys may not see it and you bombard the JFF, well, especially some of your listeners. Some of these things are coming out because we're not talking about them, but there's a lot of things that are happening in terms of football. But us as supporters, we just see what is happening in football on the field and the decisions that the coaches make.
So, all right. So I know that we want to talk about your under-17 competition, which I think is fantastic. But before we get there, one of the new things that the JFF has embarked on is this coaching certification licensing, where they're doing B license, A license, C license, and D license. In the leagues in St. Thomas now, how many B license coaches are available to the parish?
All right, so I have 19 D license coaches. D, 19.
D as in dark?
Dark,
okay.
19.
Okay.
And we have to give credit to the JFF in this regard, because remember now, this is being rolled out by the JFF, and it's very important, as you would have pointed to, and not only just by itself, but in terms of the player pathway program that is very crucial, not just for football, but as business. And these are some of the conversations I think we need to have with our wider stakeholders so that they can appreciate and understand, where we are now as a country, as a parish, and where we need to be. And which is why management, it's important that we're a little bit more patient on some of these shows, because sometimes we make a lot of noise and we're not hearing each other. But when we spend 3 hours on these fora, there has to be learning. But there are times when I think 80% of the time we're not seeing what is happening. So we have the D license coaches, and we have 2 C license coaches. And all of these would have happened in the last year also with the rollout of the JFF program. Because remember now that previously we had the advanced level 1 and advanced level 2. So now we don't have coaches in the parishes who are good enough to coach.
Okay.
But as we modernize and as we seek to compete in a global environment, we have to look at where we are and align ourselves in that regard. So we're following the model being used by the JFF, which I think is a good model. And even though I know we challenge it sometimes because we want to look at the UEFA and things, but it's really for us to provide the conversation, to drive the discussion, read the curriculum, and what is needed for us. But not to challenge these things in a very destructive way.
Yeah, I see Raphael Beckford says that I need to big you up for him. So I don't know if you're familiar with the name. The name is Raphael Beckford. He says, "Man is man, big up waiting for me." Raphael Beckford. So
Some of them, know them by them pet name, but the Raphael sounds familiar. Raphael Beckford. Raphael sounds familiar, I'm not sure.
yeah. Oh,
But a lot of youth players would have passed through my hands, because that is my favorite part of the program.
Okay. Well,
which is why I really want to talk about some of these things that we're doing
so we're
here.
gonna get to the under 17 competition, but Ohini Blake, they call him cataract. He doesn't see so well. You can tell by the name that he gives himself, cataract, that something is wrong with his eyes. So many times his observations cannot be taken seriously. So he says for St. Thomas.
I was sharing,
he says
sharing with a colleague of mine.
Let me just read what he says first, and then I get to. He says, for St. Thomas, I cannot see more than 2 professional clubs being viable. Maybe one in East St. Thomas and one in Western St. Thomas. And then Raphael says, UTech computer science. Oh, you're a UTech man. Yeah. So Raphael says UTech computer science.
Raphael is getting into my professional life now, which is one of the things I try to keep away from football. And I tell you why. There are times when you look at a person because of the qualification that they have. And I think that has destroyed our sport. Not just sport, business also. We need to look at persons in terms of how competent they are.
Yes.
And that is, not many persons understand my professional training. Oini would, cataract.
Yeah.
And I was saying to a friend of mine with cataract that, look, both of you need to sit and speak, because cataract is brilliant about what he does in terms of football, because he has been doing this from ever since I know him. Very, very passionate about it. And this is where we need to coexist in terms of all the stakeholders with these brilliant ideas. But I don't think we're lacking in terms of human resources, It's just to harness these resources in an environment where we're harmonious in our thinking and not adversarial in how we treat with each other.
Yeah. And I think that is probably the probably Ohini's personality is, though he means well. You can't be driven by a passion alone, But he's saying that what is viable for St. Thomas is 2 professional clubs, Eastern St. Thomas and Western St. Thomas. While that may be a noble idea, I can tell you, like you were saying earlier, given the kind of climate that our football was formulated through, I find it very difficult to see any one parish subscribing in any time soon to this sort of idea. 2 clubs in a parish operating and functioning professionally. What say you on the matter?
So it goes back to strategic planning. And I'm happy that you brought in the issue of timing. Because if we start with one, for example, which I agree with, we could operate with one as a start, when we would have matured in terms of what we seek out of this engagement, you may find that there are opportunities for others. And especially with the development that is happening in St. Thomas, it is quite possible that 90,000 people may change to 300,000 in no time. Because if you look, and this is where we have to be very strategic. And when we plan, take strategic planning lightly, management, but strategic planning, it brings out the best in us. We look at the environment, we engage everybody, whether you can read or write, and we all agree to something. But I see us having more than one down the road when the environment would have been fully developed.
Yes.
And we can transport people, and we have people here, that kind of thing, and there's the industry to support the football. So it's all about planning. And that is what needs to be reflected in our strategic plan, which we're trying to finalize, by the way, the new one, thanks to the Social Development Commission that is working with us. Yeah. So one, and right now we have one, by the way, which is Baptist Alliance, and they are also supporting the female program. So I have one male program and one female program, and I want to encourage your listeners to be a little bit more patient with the female side, because I can guarantee you when we're having these discussions, many a times we're not focusing on the female, but there are so many opportunities that are there if we treat with the gender equality as per the Sustainable Development Goals.
I think the other thing though is that the female don't want us to focus on them, but we will have to save that for next discussion.
No. So management, what I think we need to have, and I'm gonna encourage you
Yes.
to establish a forum where we can bring in the private sector, bring in some very important stakeholders and have a conversation. I think we're being affected culturally. Boys and girls champs were separate, but they had to come together because the forces that were driving the female was totally different from that of the male. So now the female are actually benefiting from the power of the male in terms of that program.
Yes.
When you go to netball,
that's a very good. Listen. You see, on that I think.
No, so I want to create the context in the management because sometimes we focus on football for whatever reason. Could be our biases, but if you don't put the thing into context, you will not get the development. So when you go to a netball game, for example, it would be the teams that are waiting to play, plus some family members scattered all over the place. And when you go to a female football game in the national stadium with our top team, Jamaica, you have to beg people to turn up to these games. So this is important information, and this is why I'm saying, a show like this has to be very strategic in how we have these conversations.
No, what
And
I'm saying,
we have to be objective.
you brought up a point that is significant. I think as we have merged our boys and girls champs, we have seen where the performances and the attendance, the performances, the sponsorship, all of these things have improved, and in fact, I would say our female program at the senior level, it has now surpassed our male program. And I think this is because of the coming together of both. So as you were speaking, I'm wondering if to make the female football even more attractive, maybe we need to run both of them at the same time. So instead of going to watch St. Thomas Tech versus Morant Bay High, on the male side, the curtain raiser is the females playing. Maybe that is what we need to look at, because I think that, like you said, you would have more eyes on the female programs, which is part of what it needs. So now people are better able to follow through with them as they play alongside the male team. So I think that's probably something I like, that kind of idea that you brought up, the champs thing, and how that has improved and worked. But I mean, I am open to always having the stakeholders. I do a lot of work with getting, especially females engaged in the national program in any way that I can. But it is a very, very, like I started out, the program speaking about it is very difficult, because when we talk about male football, and maybe we need to change, a lot of it is that, the man, they're not good enough. I idiot that. Look how the man got big. You understand me? The man enough to dip on the field and see I rum at that. You can't, you're not permitted to do that on the female side. And I think that affects a lot of Jamaican fans, because I find that the language that we use in speaking about players on the male side will not be accepted on the female side. And I think somehow fans have to change their tone so they can greater appreciate the females. I don't know, because I can't see you saying that a female got too big and it looked like she a rummed and she not fit on the field. That is regarded as disrespectful, but on the male side, it is normal.
Yeah, but I tell you, management, our spectators are very emotional, and sometimes it's after the outburst they would realize, what would have been communicated. But whether be it male or female, it doesn't matter if you're in a stadium and you see we are like this as spectators.
Okay.
But I do appreciate that. But we are very, very emotional and expressive when we're watching our game. Now, which is why there are so many coaches when we're assessing our games, whether it be at the national level or the local level. It is about that exuberance and the expressiveness.
Yeah.
Of it.
See a former footballer here, and she's in it, and she's saying that even the women's league, it must run concurrent with the JPL. Maybe play it when the JPL games are being played. I think we need to look at that. And maybe you should advocate for something like that, because I can't see why it wouldn't work. Because if the resources are available, then it becomes easier to like a play it alongside. And I just foresee more people having their eyes on the female sport. And after a while, it may go on its own because it grows. But for now, I think we probably need to consider that. How can we put it alongside the male sport to get more eyes on it?
So let me suggest to you though that one of the things that when we're making decisions, we have to have data. And so you talk about like the female teams being curtain raiser, right? That's where you're heading.
Yes.
Right. And I'm happy for that suggestion, but then you would have to appreciate if that is happening, it would probably make sense that for every male
school
Premier League team, there is a female Premier League team also, because these are some of the things that I think we have to look at. And I do agree that the synergy would help to drive the sport. But there are times when they are challenging, and sometimes it's kind of difficult to get these decisions.
Hey, listen.
And happen then.
But do you know that even with our say at Jamaica College, they have a sister school that could play on the day when Jamaica College has its game, because they have a sister school. KC has a sister school. St. George's has a sister school. Woolmer's has a sister school. Monroe has Hampton. So even our male schools have what they call sister school, because they were probably started by Calabar is the same. They were probably started by the same religious group, and they fall under the same umbrella. So yeah. But I know. I mean, I've had you more than your 10 minutes. You promised, but and you haven't even talked about.
Fine. Well, I'm prepared to go another 10 if you want me to. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you want me to.
Yeah. I want you to talk about what, because I know you have your U17 that is going on. I think you're the first parish. I think Montego Bay is the only other parish right now that has a U17 competition.
Right. So,
yes.
I'm really happy to communicate this, and we have to give credit to SDF. And I want to bring out this point, because sometimes we see it, but we don't absorb it. When the COVID experience was a bad experience, a very, very bad experience. And resources are still limited, mind you, even though, you get support here and there. And for the ministry to have agreed to support in the parishes, for the most part, with their return to play, that's the major league, and to have actually given up that position in the major league to support the under 17. So they're sponsoring under 17 through the SDF. I really want to commend them for this, because if it had been for that, it would have been difficult for us to do. And part of the reason why I want to emphasize it, the contribution that is being made to the clubs actually came from the cash that we got, and we could hand it over to them. And I tell you, it meant so much to them. And which is why I think it has translated in terms of the interest, because the under-17 game is rivaling our major league, you know. There's a whole heap of interest behind the under-17. I don't know if it has to do with the hunger for football, but when you turn up to some of these communities, this is a massive crowd. And when you listen to the people speak, honestly, I'm happy, and I really want to extend commendation to the executive, you know, to drive this kind of program, because it is helping us in a big way. Separate and apart from supporting the pathway in terms of our program, I think the interest, it is generating a lot of interest.
Awesome. And there are 2 zones of 5 teams each.
Right, so 2 zones of 5 teams each, and you can get the message also from this that only these teams will qualify, will be eligible for the major league.
So if you're not in the U17, you cannot play major league.
No, you can't play major league.
Hey, listen, I must commend you on doing that. I don't know if any other parish president is taking that type of a bold stance. Because youth development is important, and I think that is a tremendous move. And I would love that the next step be you must at least operate 1 female club as well. Female team as well. But I love that step. That
and I'm sure it's probably out there now in other parishes, because I think there was a time when there was a conversation that we needed to have 1 mandatory youth team. We were motivated by the fact that we thought it was an opportunity for us to introduce it at the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's helping us. So we have been playing the under-17 for the last, say 4 or 5 years, even before COVID. But for this year, the competition is longer, because in previous years, it would have been 1 round and you have the semi-final and final. And the clubs are very happy for this. But again, it's the resources that would have been injected. So 2 zones. Top 2 teams go to the semi-final.
Is it home and away in the zones?
Yes, home and away.
Okay.
Right. So previously it would have been a one-way round robin competition, and then we would have played the semi-final and final. But it's home and away, and the coaches who are well trained would have supported more games. Because what they're saying, it is far more strategic to have more games at the youth level than to have these curtailed competition.
Well, the Kassafa police just arrived. He said management that occurs in Kassafa, which is true as well. Teams that don't play U13 and U17 cannot play senior football. The only exception were UA, police, and JDF. So thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, so I know it's not that other parishes are doing. And which is one of the reasons why I think we need to promote our football a lot more. So there are things that are happening which the stakeholders are not aware of, and this is where we have to take some responsibility to ensure that we push and drive these conversations a lot more. Because football is not a secret. It has to be out there in the faces of people.
Yeah. Someone just said, one of our listeners from the diaspora said, Manins, the person is very articulate and appears to be a critical thinker with many good ideas. If the optics are reflective of his capabilities, why doesn't he have a significant role in the JFF? Do you care to answer?
All right. So, and the gentleman, and this is good enough. And this is how persons would have perceived things. So not being upfront doesn't necessarily mean that you're not working. I want to say that I have worked on almost all the change committees in the JFF since PLEGIC. Remember, PLEGIC is that interim committee that formed the professional body.
Right.
I was part of that committee with Mr. Samoda.
Right.
I have been part of the governance review commission. And one of the reasons why the JFF struggle, and many persons, if you don't understand organizational design and capacity building, you would understand that as the environment gets competitive, your capacity has to grow in that regard. None of us have really realized the work that is happening in relation to that capacitation. And we recognize from the very start that the governance commission being led by Mr. Samuda was crucial to kind of bridge that gap. So what we did was to pull in some professionals who are always there behind the scenes, but helping those, administratively or politically. So I was part of Plegic. I've been part of the governance. When we had the first discussion in terms of the conversation with FIFA, and again, many persons believe that things that are happening in the JFF is being driven down from FIFA. We had developed a terms of reference. Now I have to give credit to the previous General Secretary. Many persons really don't know him and how he would have wanted to make the change. We developed a terms of reference right after we did the strategic review. The reason for that, the strategic planning, the reason for that, we recognized that there was a gap and that gap had to be filled. So we wrote to JFF, to FIFA, saying we need, with a terms of reference, so we need to fix this thing quickly so that all the issues you're here during at this point, we could have managed them. But we will continue to hear these things because the truth is the organization needs to be capacitated and it is not happening as fast as it should be. Partly because we probably don't have the necessary skills and the resources, but there's a lot of work that is happening behind the scenes, and not because I'm behind the scenes doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not active in the process. The MOU between the DFF and the professional body, I led that discussion, and I'm happy, even though I know there are some challenges, but yes, it's a start. And I have to say there's a lot of work that is happening behind the scenes. And there are persons behind the scenes that are working and you don't see them.
All right, here's the thing now, Mr. Thompson. I'm man from computer science, UTech, all right? One of the issues that many have had is the inability to consistently see an operative website from the JFF with a lot of this information where people can access quality information about what the Federation is doing, vision plans and all of that. Now, I mean, in your field, and I would even say, let's go back to Mr. Wint, who is a UTech man as well in engineering. Why has it taken like so long, in your opinion, for that to be like there, just for the purpose of providing up-to-date information to Jamaicans? And I always say this to the viewers of my program, that we grow up, you and I, in school. One of the ways that we learn to deduce things is fill in the blanks. Most Jamaicans do that in English language. Tom and Dash went dash to purchase, and you fill in the blank. The notion then is that as we grow older, where we don't have the information, we fill in the blanks. And by the time the information is provided, 1,000 people have filled in the wrong blank and walk away with a wrong perspective. So, you know how critical information is. Have you ever embarked on the task of getting that information arm through website and computing established in the Federation and even in St. Thomas, where you live?
All right, so let me just say that, let me start with St. Thomas, because I noticed you're taking me to the JFF, which I know you have persons there who can speak to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I will do my part here. Our business before COVID in St. Thomas was being run virtually. There's a physical office,
Oh,
but we have integrated, and all of these things didn't happen like this during a muscular management. It is your setting out your strategic direction, and from time to time you look at where you are and you drive these things based on the needs. Our financial management system is integrated. It is being done online through the cloud. And I don't want to take credit for this because I am fully aware that if we didn't have a chartered accountant working with it, it would have been difficult for us to see that because he brought that with him. We have a general secretary who her thing is she doesn't like paper. They find that all our records are online. And in fact, we're currently looking at a records management policy because you're fully aware that once you start to drive your business online, then you have to treat with records management in a different way in terms of how you
yes,
prepare
yes,
the record, how you archive the record, and so forth.
yes.
So, St. Thomas, and we were the first, by the way, to have gone on the FIFA
Connect.
Connect system,
Yes, yes. You did
and
mention that.
we would have helped other parishes in this regard. In fact, one of the things we have even discussed is where we use the system to set up our scheduling because there are software out there, free and open, but FIFA has provided us as part of the FIFA Connect some packages that will allow for us to drive the conversation with scheduling and so forth. In any business, we have to understand that when you sit to discuss certain things, you have to remember the maturity of the organization. I do agree that even at the JSF level, we should be talking about websites that are compliant with the W3C standards. Many of us tend to ignore that part. And the reason for that, and especially for people in the diaspora, if you set up these websites and persons with disabilities cannot maneuver the sites, it becomes another challenge. So I'm fully aware that the JFF is also looking at that, even though it's kind of late, yes, with our website, but we're looking at some of those things. But website is not an IT thing, by the way, and that does set us back also as a country. Websites are used for communication, and therefore the conversation about a website can be about how technical we are. I think we're kind of behind in terms of communication mechanism in football generally, including the JFF. But I think we're falling in line because we have to compete with other countries, and other countries are doing it. But not only that, our statutes require for us to publish information, and I'm sure you would have seen the statute. This is where you'll have to hold us accountable, not just at the JFF level, but at the parish level,
Yes.
because it is expected, and this is part of our plan here in St. Thomas. There has to be alignment between our plans and the JFF, because if that doesn't happen, we will never be able to get the kind of growth that we want in football. And that this is not just football; it's business. If you have a branch and the branch's plan is not aligned to that of the parent company, you're gonna have some serious issues. So these are some of the things we're looking at. Yes, we're behind in terms of the communication mechanism, but things are being put in place, and thanks to the directors who would have agreed to some of these things. There's the element of the publication that will require us to publish all our financial statements, but not only that, our plans and our budget, but also to engage stakeholders, even in the planning process. And I see where some of that is being done, even as we speak. So I'm just suggesting that as we look at the environment, we have to be patient, but be very pragmatic with us, because we're not operating an environment that is static, and we have to compete with our stakeholders. So we don't have the luxury of time. we have to make the change, but some of these changes are culturally driven.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, and yeah, I want to thank you for really taking time to come on. And sometimes, like I said, I think, and I don't know how many persons have consistently heard from you. And so there are two parts. Maybe persons should have been trying to reach out to persons like you to kind of hear the behind the scenes stuff. But also, as John Maxwell always speaks on leadership, and he says everything rises and fall on leadership, and part of that, we have to take responsibility when people react a particular way, when we don't provide them with the necessary information. And so my simple challenge, Mr. Thompson, going forward, is that as best as you can, as often as you can, seek to engage the people in conversations like this, where they can understand the intricate details of some of the processes. Because where that is not done, you and I are aware that our culture, our local culture, are glad to run with wrong information and propagate
Come
it.
on. Yes. So management, here's where I want to take. I want us to take these programs as YouTubers, and it's a cultural change that is needed. So, if we're going to be successful with what we ask for in terms of the performance of the team, we need to stop to think, work up to work up to work up to work up. We need to start to think more in terms of what is it that we want to achieve in terms of football. And those things must be documented and shared. And in fact, the conversation can't be one-sided. The diaspora should be included in setting our targets so that when a performance assessment is being done, that assessment is being done based on what we would have agreed to. So the conversation, and I hear Chris Williams made mention of that, which I think is very important. It has to move from our own emotions to what is practically needed in our environment, and that must be set out through a strategic planning process. But I want to use the opportunity also to say I'm happy for this, because there are a whole lot of programs here in St. Thomas that we're trying to push in, and the diaspora is critical in this regard.
Yes. I
am fully aware, though, that having the conversation with some persons in the diaspora is not easy, because there's a perception that is bestowed on persons locally. But we have to remember that they're all being trained with a universal curriculum where all certifications are standard, and we have people locally who are passing these exams also. So the conversation,
I like your very diplomatic maneuvering over that one,
Right. Our conversations and expectations must be management as we see to develop our football. But I want to also...
That is true. So let me help the people in diaspora. Let me just give them this. What Mr. Thompson has said is that where your experience don't meet expectation, fill the gap with trust. Don't make assumptions. Don't ever think like because of where you live, your achievement educationally surpasses others who don't live in that same space. All right.
But I also want to add, management. I also want to add that there's also a culture which we need to fix. We tend to engage the diaspora when we need something. We should be engaging them in the planning process so that they feel a part of the thing.
At the process.
I want to build up my summer program that is coming up doing that. I don't want to leave without this opportunity. We have been struggling to launch a summer program as part of our grassroots. And what it does is to engage the schools where we meet for 4 weeks, and then thereafter we would have like Saturday program. This, we think, is a substitute for academies, because if we have the ideas and we're not able to set up the academies as we want it, it's an avenue in which we can support the development pathway. And for the referees, I'm saying to us, if you go on our Facebook page right now, you'll see where we're asking referees. We have about 9 of them who would have submitted new recruits
Yes.
to join us in our training. We are also in that regard, and trying to push that agenda. So we'll be starting a session soon. And every Saturday from now onwards, previously we have some girls that we're working with, and we also have the under 15 boys. And trust me, if you want to enjoy development in terms of football, that is where you really need to be.
But
And certainly I would want to have the conversation with our diaspora
yes.
in that regard.
I will engage them because it sounds like you have just paid the toll because you have passed the highway. Some persons are probably just hitting the road. Some are turning the corner, but it looked like you have turned the corner and you have paid the toll. So you're on the highway to success.
So
right now.
man is man. Take me before, because I want to get it in. There are many countries in Africa that have never made it to the World Cup. There are many in Europe that have never made it to the World Cup. Right? But guess what happens? Their program is rich because they're turning over players. And I'm saying we have to start to look at our targets differently.
Yeah. Let me say this. Oyini Blake says there are two things. He says, this one says, what is your views of the role of YouTubers in football, including communication medium you refer to? And then Oyini Blake is asking, and then these two questions, and you can go. Can you ask Mr. Thompson to comment on the built-in disadvantage of having the Costa Cup quarter and semi-final played in St. James and the effect of St. Thomas schools? So I think he's saying that when St. Thomas schools have to travel to St. James to play quarterfinals and semifinals, what is the effect, how it affects St. Thomas schools? And the other question is, what is your views of the role of YouTubers in football, including the communication mediums that you referred to? So those two, and then...
So let me say the last one first. We have started to have a conversation on that. It's not just St. Thomas, it's the Eastern parishes. But there seems to be a reality with respect to ISA that we have to be cognizant of. In any discussion, any conversation, there are always different interests. It's about the willingness to have the conversation. I think ISA is willing to have the conversation. We have started some discussion, but we are fully aware that the Eastern schools, from where we sit, we're at a disadvantage.
Okay.
But the conversation has started in relation to, and it is important that we plan together, by the way, in this regard. You find that sometimes we're absent from these discussions at the school level, but it is important that we sit and be very strategic. YouTubers, key stakeholders, very important stakeholders in the mix, and especially to bridge the gap with the communication. So there's a communication gap. So there's a place for you, but there's not only a place for you to communicate, there's also a place for you to add to the planning process, and we just need to find the mechanism to do it. But it can't mean that when we come on these shows, it's pure noise, and there's a lot of excitement. At some point in time, we have to tone down, because management, I don't want to come on the show and then we have to agree on ground rules. And I feel that if I'm going on some shows, it has to be established on the show what the ground rules are.
Okay.
And we should not have gotten to that stage in the first place, but some environment is more hostile than others. But we have to remember that we're operating with professionals also, and our outlook and how we see parish presidents, by the way, it has to change.
Okay. All right, listen, well said. I mean, well articulated. I'm glad that we had the conversation, and like we promised, that whatever we can do to keep the people abreast with what is happening in St. Thomas, you know, we just get that information, the coaches, the players, clips of the games and all of that. We are more than willing to do that, because my greatest delight is that all parishes, all players, we grow together. And I agree with you that we have to begin to look beyond the World Cup. We have to look beyond qualifying and winning the Gold Cup. We have to look to how many players can we realistically develop for the biggest clubs in Europe so that greater income can come into the country? Yes, it would be good to go to the World Cup, but if you're producing players who can be in the top leagues in Europe, I believe qualifying for the World Cup will come. But if we just
That's the
set out,
point.
like I said, if we just set out for the World Cup, we may do that at the expense of serious grassroots developments and keep on failing at qualifying for the World Cup while we're failing at developing the talent we have to become world class. And so we are in total agreement with that. So very grateful that you have taken this step as a parish president to start from mandated that the clubs in your major league must participate in under 17. Someone just said that means that Hearties will not be in the major league because they don't have.
No, so that's one of the that's one of the things with us. We are very many of the persons, by the way, on the executive are from RT because of how we're structured. It's the first club to have been certified, and it's not just about football; it's about projects. So we get funding from all over. But the point is, our rules and regulations that we agree to, in a professional way, we have to stick to them, irrespective of who we are.
Yes.
And we have protected that. We have led by example, and I'm happy that we have done that in that regard.
Yeah. I am glad that a parish president who is a part of a club is sticking to the rule that exclude his club from participating in the major league. And I think it is things like this we need to hear more often, so that the maker of the rule is following the rule. So,
Right.
yeah, man. So thank you again, Mr. Thompson. I mean, enjoy the rest of the day. Looking forward to having some more dialogue with you.
Thank you very much, and thanks to your listeners for having the patience with me. And Chakarat, I know Chakarat has already a good friend. We talk football a lot, and I really want to say hi to the persons in the diaspora.
Yes.
We value your services that you would have provided, not just in terms of football, but in terms of our development as a country.
Awesome, wonderful. I think you need to put in a petition for him to change his name from Cataract to 2020 Vision.
All the best.
All the best to you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you.
All right. So there you go, people. Mr. Wayne Thompson, it is. He's a president for St. Thomas. Hope you'd have heard and learned a few things, understand a little bit more about the process. We had some callers before we got to that call. So there is a window now for you to call. But I have a next very important person that I need to speak to. And this is as it relates to an event that is taking place this weekend at the Drax Sport Complex in St. Anne, right? We did this interview before and we had Luton Fire on it, right? Yes, so let me get this person. But some persons may have misunderstood and they have said that the proceeds of this event is for a particular player, and it is not so. All right, so let's hear what is happening.
Reached the voicemail.
All right, not getting through on that one. So we have several means and ways. So let's find out. And then
But the person you have called.
all right, not getting through on either number. So let's try this one again and see. If we don't get through this time, that is it. Come into the.
You have reached.
All right. So other thing today, Portmore will play Mount Pleasant, and listen, Mount Pleasant, as you know, I'm down this side. Mount Pleasant, if you're listening to me, it's time. It's time to get. It's time to get your act in order. Mount Pleasant. All right, coaches, players, it's time to fix this. Management can't deal with this anymore. So here's what now. Have to find a way to win this game today. Alright? Devontae Campbell needs to play and give some speed and width down on one side. And I would say you have to go back to 4-3-3. 4-3-3. You have to go for the win. This is a make-up game. Alright? I think that you have to play, what's his name? Just put Trevante out on the flank. Trust him out there and let him cut in. So you put Trevante out there. And then you play Bygrave in the middle. Start with those three. You have Ricardo Morris, who has been playing very good. You have Demario, who has been playing very good. And you start with Alwyn Harvey. Kimani Campbell is a very good defender. But I'm going to tell you this. Last year, one of the best left-sided defenders was Donovan Sigree. He must start. In fact, I would say if Topi is out and I think there is red carded, put Alwyn Harvey at centre back with Ladil. No, you have Doxley. But you can't even put Alwyn Harvey. Alwyn Harvey is a centre back. Alright? Murray has been playing. He was the cause of the first goal. He's lacking some confidence. You start Suley McCullough. That is your starting 11. If Alwyn Harvey goes back, you start Rankin. You have to go for the win. Use the speed of Campbell. Come on, Mount Pleasant. Get a win. Coach Tapper, Coach Barrett, Coach Ferguson. Let's get the win. I saw Mr. Gould at the Mobile game. He is not looking better. He doesn't look happy. I don't know if it is a player, it is a man, but he doesn't look happy. This is a lot of investment, man. Come on, man. We have to get it together. And if the players are not doing what they're supposed to do, then get rid of them. It don't matter who brought them there. The team must look better than this. This is 20 odd games now. I made a lot of excuses though you were winning that it will come together. It still has not come together. It must come together for this Portmore game. Mr. Christie, everybody involved. I keep on telling you guys that I've been saying it now for 4 years that the biggest issue with Mount Pleasant continues to be the same. There is nobody at Mount Pleasant, no one at Mount Pleasant, who is bold enough to say it's one team. And if you can, from management, I guarantee you, if you go through the ranks of Mount Pleasant, you'll find that there's disagreement at the leadership level and the players level. And I keep on saying it. You need to have a meeting, and those who are not a part of the plan, you just do away with them. That's it. But when you talk about one aim, that is it. The biggest issue is not the quality of players, because the players will be there and struggling, and then they leave and they start playing well. They'll be playing well where they are, and they come there and they struggle. It's not because they're not getting the money, because they are being paid. But there's something else that needs to be sorted out. And part of winning and creating a winning culture is not just on the field. It is managing people. So if I were there, every man has to be on board. And if you break the code of unity, you're dismissed from the program immediately. There is no malice. There's no separation or segregation. Everything flows systematically from the top to the lower parts of the team. Everybody must be on board. And if you don't want to be there, you put your hand up. You put your hand up. I wonder if the hey, Mount Pleasant, give Manningsman a call. You hear? Give Manningsman a call. Anytime when you're ready, give Manningsman a call. Give Manningsman a call. Give Manningsman a call. People, give Manningsman a call. Tell him to give Manningsman a call. All right? So, yeah, so that's it. We're going to move on to some other news right now. Yeah. So the other thing is that, listen, if you pay $1 million for your player, and you have him on a 3-year contract, and he doesn't want to play, you make him sit and don't play no football. Or they have to pay back $1 million for him, no matter who they are. If not, you put him down, you pay him, and make him sit down and play no football for the rest of his contract. You have to get serious with some of these players. You put them on basic salaries, and here's the thing. You can say national players this and that is in their contract. Do not cut any more contract for free unless you're getting full transfer. Any player you purchase, and you have to pay, because so let players know that if you come here and you're dissatisfied, you're gonna sit down. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna pay you, because we're gonna pay you basic, because the rest of it is based on match performance. You're getting basic salary, and you're gonna sit out the next 4 years of your contract, and we not play you none at all. So make up your mind. If anybody want you, if we pay 800,000 for you, them have to pay you back 700,000. And ain't no club in Jamaica apart from you paying that money for nobody. You want a chief negotiator. No mercy upon the merciless. No mercy upon the merciless. There must be someone that vets every player coming in and every player going out. No mercy on the merciless. But we still believe in the project. All right, that's Manningsman say. We have Unseen Sports because he says he wants to join. We're going to talk about some breaking news. Breaking news. So let's hear what Unseen has to say on the breaking news. Unseen, you come to break something.
Up on the balcony, so the road is close by, so don't
Me never know you're going back of you.
But anyway, Manningsman, we know you want to jump run off at the Mount Pleasant things. You know, I'm share my point of me think what the problem.
Yeah, man. What the problem?
I just believe that I think the coaches that come in, Manningsman, should be responsible for selecting the players that you want for his system. And I just believe that they just go there wildly, and just select players based on what them think. Them a pick players based on them system, and you know, me just think them for go youths, like them over academy, and it's not it come like the academy now fuel into the big team management. So for example, like a Cavaliers team, you see Cavaliers are push out the youth, them are play and a defeat and a outsmart the adults them in the league. I mean, I say why Mount Pleasant can't do it, and them have more money, management. They have more money, have more resources than a Cavaliers. But it's just the administration, the setting the structure, the philosophy. Something is wrong, and I think the people them put in charge for that department management not doing a good job. And it's not necessarily the coach. It starts from the head, where if the head of the stream dirty management, the bottom must dirty too.
Wait, all right. Tell me how Mr. Gould is dirty.
I'm not saying Mr. Gould. I mean
So
the problem.
May I ask you a question? You just said if the head of the stream is dirty,
Right.
then the rest of the stream is dirty. Mr. Gould is the head of Mount Pleasant. How is Mr. Gould dirty? That may I ask you.
All right. So what I mean by dirty necessarily means I mean, in terms of the people that when put in place to do the work. Because him not really do the work, you know, him set people in place. You understand what I'm saying, man, is one? So, them people, them now do a good job. Because them
So
keep on
if
a select.
somebody no, all right, so here's what they need to do, Unseen. Can you know me go challenge you?
Yeah, man.
If you say that they're not doing a good job,
Right.
that is a different thing than saying if the head of the stream is dirty, then the rest of the stream is dirty. When you say the head of the stream is dirty, you're saying that the people at the leadership of Mount Pleasant are
Right.
corrupt. That is
I
what that
mean,
means.
I mean, I'm not talking about corrupt. I talk about, remember, you know, we are talking about feed them football and forget it right, you know, man, is man. We're not talking about corruption and anything there.
So, all right, no, I'm just asking
What I mean
because
by head of the stream is just a saying what them normally use when time something not go right and it needs to fix.
all
So
right.
maybe use a wrong term. Maybe
Yeah,
you
so
use
you
a term
use a
that,
wrong term. You
yeah,
can't use
maybe
it
use
because
a
that's
term that you maybe use a terminology and when corruption are going like politics
yeah,
and everything. You understand me? I say, but what may I try to say then?
yeah.
Use something else. Use something else.
Use something else. I prefer that.
The people when Mr. Gold put in place to do certain things, them not do a good job. Start from below him, coming down.
So,
That's what I say.
all right. All right. So, all right, fine. So the people that Mr. Gould has put in position, they are not doing a good job.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So who? Let's talk about that. So there is Paul Christie. There is Whitmore, the head coach. There is Warren Bart, the goalkeeper coach. There is Davian Ferguson, the assistant coach. All right. So are you saying that from Paul Christie down, they are the reason why the team is playing the way the team is? They are not doing a good job. We just want to clarify. All right. So, all right, cool. Not a problem. So, what would you say Paul Christie did wrong?
Even before, for example, even before Tapa get the job, like you see players have them are buy players are come in. You understand? So it's like Tapa have to go there, see a player, them have to work with him because them don't negotiate, they don't have them contract written, they don't have certain things written down. You understand? Normally we know at the international the coach have a saying to who the club buy. You understand me? I say who more fit him system. Right? And most of the time when we look on it, the players them play for Mount Pleasant. First them start out well, and then after a while everything just start pull up, like screw them start pull up Marines man. Like you not see the unity again to them play, you not see the energy again. You understand what I say? Like certain some of the selection and some of the buy them just we can't understand it. And you know, you can predict and know at this time of the season, man, Mount Pleasant are gonna just go down the ladder. So you can predict it like each year.
All right. So let's get it right. So you're saying that Paul Christie transferred players to Mount Pleasant before Whitmore got the job, and then Whitmore took the job.
Right.
And he's coaching players that he had no choice in selecting. So
Right.
that is Paul Christie's fault. So Paul, your suggestion is that Paul Christie should have waited until Whitmore come in.
So hold on, question man is one. Is it Paul Christie alone that select players or go out and
You are telling me because you know.
No, may I ask you.
But you already said that's what he did.
No, may I ask you a question. Remember say you close to Mount Pleasant, may I ask you a
No,
question.
but
Is Paul Christie alone responsible
before you ask me the question, you have to retract the statement because you already said that the problem you had is that Paul Christie went out and bought players before Whitmore got there. You cannot, after saying that, asking me if Paul Christie is the person who did that.
Man, you ask me. You said it something, I'm going to say, yes, Paul Christie. Let me ask you, who is Paul Christie alone responsible for selecting players?
All right, so let me no. Let me give you. I'm going to answer you unseen. I'm going to answer you.
Okay.
I started out by asking you if it were Mr. Gould. You said no. You said it is the people below him. I
Right.
started out with Paul Christie. When I asked you about Paul Christie, you went on and you said that Paul Christie, for example, went and bought players before Whitmore was the coach. You
The
said
person in charge of selecting players. Go and look in players. The person who go out there go look the players then before Whitmore come in.
so. So
Yeah.
what
Who's
I am saying.
responsible for that department there?
So what I am saying to you is, before you make that statement, you need to make sure that what you're saying is actually what happened. So you cannot, after saying that, then ask a question if it is Paul Christie who go out and get the players. That's
No,
all
never
I'm saying.
ask that. I say if him alone, because him do it. Can I'm sure say him do it. Him go look players too. But me ask if him alone. That's the question.
So you don't know if it's him alone. You don't know if he and
No,
Whitmore were in dialogue.
I am asking you, Manningsman. You're
But
close.
what I'm saying that,
So why you
fine,
can't answer the
you're asking
question?
me. I am saying to
Right.
you, I am saying to
If
you.
you don't know, you know. Why not?
Listen what I'm saying to you. I am not going to say what you said because I have no proof of it. So
Right.
I cannot say that Paul Christie did it. You have said unequivocally that that is what he did, and you don't have no proof.
But he's responsible for that department.
He's responsible. So he's responsible for what department?
Negotiating with players.
So Paul Christie is responsible for negotiating with the players.
Right.
Is he
Getting
responsible
players
for?
into the club as well.
Is he? All right. So you're suggesting that Paul Christie is responsible for getting players
Right,
into
buying
the,
players. Sporting
huh?
director.
All right. Explain to me what you understand Paul Christie's role to be.
One of them. Go and look players for him. Make sure that players come into the club. All right. Make sure so the technical staff have everything what they need. Man is man. And we are talking about players coming into the club before Whitmore get the job. That me I talk
All
about
right.
it. That's what
So
me see in a man is man.
when I interviewed, I can only go by my information.
Right.
When I interviewed, when I heard that Whitmore was coming, when I heard that these three players, one, Dyer. Let me give you them. Dyer, Bailey, and the Mario Phillips. When I heard those three players were coming to Mount Pleasant, listen to what happened. Though Tapper was not appointed, when Paul Christie did his interview, he said that he and Whitmore were speaking about the players. Every other player that got transferred to Mount Pleasant got transferred when Theodore Whitmore was there. Every other player apart from those three.
Then you see the problem then.
No, I don't know. You need to explain, because you are trying to explain the problem. So I want you to explain the problem. Because personally, I don't think recruitment is their issue.
Be a trailer pass, man. Be a trailer pass. But anyway, what may I say? I believe that is the problem, management. So selection of players are what them go scout them players for the club. Yeah, understand me? And before even Whitmore and Paul Christie go there, that's one of the biggest problem. There's a problem we have followed them right through the year from them come at.
So what is the problem that has followed them right through?
Selection of players, man, how them recruit players to the club.
So you believe that Mount Pleasant have the wrong players? That is why they have not done well.
Because if you watch them game, man, is man, it just not work. It just not connecting with
Is it
more system
what I'm
and style
saying?
of play.
Is it the wrong? All right. So you're saying to me that since they have been in the league, they have had the wrong players. So that is,
Or them have the players that should play, but them not play them.
all right. So is it the player selection to the
Player
recruitment?
selection is one of them. Man is one. Player
No, man.
selection
Is
is
it,
one
no,
of
not player selection. Is it recruitment or
Recruitment.
selection for games?
Two of
And
them.
coaching? Okay. So in other words, you're saying that there are other players, because if the recruitment is the issue, is one or two things. They should not have taken those players and
Right.
taken other players that you believe are available.
Right.
Who are those players that? So let's look at the players that they brought in. Who should?
So we can
Because
get an example.
yeah.
Based on what me here, right?
But you have no proof, but you have heard that.
Well, I've heard. I don't have no
You
proof.
can't
but I've heard.
substantiate it, but this is what you hear.
So me here. That
Yeah.
previously they wanted before CFAS went overseas,
Who wanted him?
Wally Downs. That's what I heard.
Wally Downs wanted him.
Yes.
You
Wanted
heard?
him.
Yeah. Wally
Well,
Downs wanted Cephas.
Mount
before
Pleasant
it.
wanted CFAS.
Who from Mount Pleasant wanted Cephas?
I don't know. They never tell me who wanted.
But so that you can't. Then you can't.
Man. Just say something.
Yeah.
I don't want me to say that.
Go ahead and say what you're saying. Yeah.
So, but the person who was in charge of making sure that
Hello?
Yeah, caller, just hold on, just mute. As soon as Unseen finish, we'll let you speak. Go ahead, Unseen.
so the person in charge of that department went and look at CFAS and stuff. So they make them write down them thing and whatever, and then them say,
Hello.
why man is man, too consistent when him go down the line and square the ball. Them want somebody who look somebody who complete that. You understand me? And then them don't bother take CFAS. That's what me here.
But
And then you look at CFAS at Cavaliers. At Arnett.
But you can't use that though Unseen. You cannot use what you hear because you don't know who wanted him and who said no. So how you going to use that?
I never say I use it, It's just for me here. I make the people here with me here too.
All right. But what I am saying to you though, Unseen, is that as a responsible person who provides content, hold on a sec. Caller, welcome to Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me, caller?
Yep.
All right, caller.
Yeah, man. Good
Caller,
morning.
caller,
Yeah.
caller,
Yeah, man.
caller. You hearing?
Yes, me hear.
You're sure?
Yeah, man. Me
All right. So you have to hold on because Unseen was saying something. So just hold on, and when he's finished, just give me a minute, and then when he's finished, we'll come back to you. All right?
All right.
Yeah, man. So what I'm saying, Unseen, is that you don't know. What if it was Manning's man who said get Cephas, and Wally Downs said no? Would he be wrong?
No, the boss talk.
But I'm not the boss. What is wrong?
No, you just say, well, you say.
I said if Manning's man said, I need Cephas from Arnett at Mount Pleasant, and it's $2 million. So Wally Downs, you need to sign off. And Wally Downs said, no, who are you, Manning's man? Wally Downs is not wrong. So until you know who said they wanted Cephas and who said no, until you can prove that, you cannot say that is an example because you have no proof.
Which part would you say it is and it was factual? I never say it's factual.
No.
Just say something here, I must share
No,
it.
you said, let me give you an example.
I say me and share. All right, put that out, take that out, and share it with people me here. All right? Someone is man say me and share it with people. That's how me here.
No, you know what I'm saying.
So tell
All
me
right,
no money.
Unseen, let me ask you again.
The people them say they don't want to hear say, okay, let's share it.
Carla, welcome to the show. Good afternoon. Remember, Unseen go drink some water.
Man, it's big of a set.
Yeah.
I just simple, as information that I ask you about if you have an idea about any kind of festival down your side, which part that
Yo, all right, I'm gonna tell you now. Today our day. You see from tomorrow or Friday. You see from Friday to Monday.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah.
Everywhere I sent in a kite festival. From outer Richmond to Chas gas station to Oach all over the place. Party from party from Ocherous Bay Beach to Discovery Bay. What them call Flavors Beach. Non-stop, every venue, shot every venue. So say I stay warm. but yeah, but man, but there's Kite Festival on Monday out by the Chas gas station and the Richmond, not at Draxall. With the whole artists. Yeah.
Okay.
But at Draxall, the big thing at Draxall is Sunday, with the artists them and the footballers them.
Sunday that with the football.
Yeah.
All right. That's why you know the Panagon. That's why.
Yeah, man. All right then. Bless up.
Yeah, man. I'm going to listen to you and no see.
Big up, Carla.
All right. So here's what I want to do, Unseen.
Mm-hmm.
For the purpose of record, because I don't want to make allegations when I can talk to the people. So I am going to call the man and ask him. Simple as that. Because we can do that.
Make him clear himself up.
Yeah, but I am saying that the fact that we have access to call the man, he has never refused to come on and talk. We should not make speculations without speaking to the persons when we can talk to them. It's a different case when we don't have access to them. But when we can talk to the people and you hear something, you have to call and ask. That's all I'm saying. And then when
you have him number, so call him now.
Okay. So
call him and then ask him the question.
No, what I'm saying though, Unseen, is that I am challenging you not to say certain things. All right,
good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Christie, good afternoon. My name is Man live here on I Am Sure Sports. I need you for a very urgent Mount Pleasant conversation in 5 minutes. Right now.
Okay. All
right. So we're trying to, because some persons are saying, I have one person online on the platform with me, one of my panelists, and he is saying that the buck stop with you in terms of predominantly, in terms of where Mount Pleasant is at because of the whole recruitment. And one of the things that was suggested is that you would have gone out and recruited players before the coach. And so the coach has players that were not recruited by the coach, but were recruited by you. Can you clarify that to us about how the recruitment process work at Mount Pleasant, in particular for this season that you have been the sporting director?
All right. You are aware that I was employed after the coach. First and foremost.
Yeah, you were employed after the coach, definitely.
So, does that answer that question that I went out and recruited player before the coach? I'll be able to employ players when I'm not even employed to Mount Pleasant.
All right.
But that is a fact. So I still need to expound on that.
I mean, do you think he needs to expound, seeing that he was hired after the coach was hired, Unseen?
No.
Is that sufficient?
That's sufficient.
All right. Now, once you got the job, how does it work in terms of player recruitment? Is it that you go out, find the players? How is the coaching staff involved?
No. The coach would have given the list of players. We would have started with the executive of the organization, and after the coach submit his list, then I get it approved from the whole on a second.
Not a problem.
Honest man.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm in a little bit tonight. Let me get out of the night. Yes.
Yeah, man, not a problem.
We would have, after the coach would have submitted the list for possible acquisition, and
and it's been approved by the board, then Paul Christie would have proceeded to engage the particular clubs with a view of acquiring the service of said player that are on the list. So in no way or form did Paul Christie have anything to do with the actual recruitment. He acted on a list that was submitted by the coach of Mount Pleasant, this present coach. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that clarity.
So I want to ask my question. Was any player selected, brought to the club before you on top of Whitmore?
So his question is, were there players this season bought by the club, by somebody at the club before?
Not for this season.
Not for this season. Okay.
No, categorically not for this season.
Okay, because the players
the
who were
coach
at
would
the
have
previous
unpicked
club,
his squad
the
this
three
season.
players who were at your previous club, Kimoni Bailey, Dyer, and Demario Phillips. Those players came, according to you, after Tapa was appointed coach, and you were appointed.
No, it's not a card. That actually is a fact. Though.
Yeah, man. The fact is, they were. Let's use the word fact. The fact is that they were appointed after Tapa was hired.
After you were hired. I was hired in August, and the service of the three Mount Pleasant player, formerly of Dun Bowling, were acquired toward the back end of September.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. I think a lot of persons are because the thing is that it's almost like there's an expectation that Mount Pleasant supposed to be doing better. And I think you'd have that same expectation. Okay. So a lot of persons are disappointed. So they are wondering, I think it's more like, is it that the coach was given the wrong players? Because the team sometimes looks very disjointed. Is it that he got players that he didn't want? Or, are the players are failing to deliver? The coach is failing to deliver? Or the management has failed to provide what the coach needs to do the job? So that is what I think everyone, because it has come as a surprise.
Well, one thing I can tell you, in the summer transfer window, with the exception of this player from doing the part by the name of Peter McGregor, that the club had interest in, all the other acquisitions that the club, the coach had requested, it would have been satisfied.
Okay.
So these are the coach's players.
Okay. All right. I mean, where do you stand? Do you still believe that the team, you have a game today? I know you have a game today, so I won't even keep along, but you're confident that this team, given its present construct, still has enough quality and the type of leadership that can help them to lift the title this year?
Yes, well, one thing, this is a game that we win. Today, we will be 2 points behind the lead. We win on Sunday, we will be the leader of the Premier League.
Is it Sunday or Monday? Is it Arnett Gardens game?
Yeah, Sunday, 3:15 p.m. at the Jackson Sports Complex.
It is on Sunday, but isn't it?
Yes,
no, man. Something isn't it on Sunday that they have the big event at Draxal as well?
I don't know, but I can tell you about the schedule. I don't know what other thing might be.
All right.
I know that there is an event Saturday night, the 8th of August, is scheduled for.
So the game is on the Sunday. Okay. That is what is, because so the Draxal, you think, can manage the event on the Saturday and the game on the Sunday?
I've never been a groundsman. However, if asked by me, I would have done it differently. But we are both aware that Mount Pleasant is a tenant at the Jackson Sports.
I did explain that recently to the people.
And as such, we are not able to dictate the terms and conditions under which our employment, our lease is arranged. However, based on the fact that the president would be the person who is Elisa, we would have expected that him being that football president would have made a more responsible decision where that situation is concerned. I'm not at liberty to speak anymore on that, but
not a
however,
problem.
the Mount Pleasant Football Academy family is a bit disappointed based on what is unfolding right now.
Well, I find that I think this is, but let's see what happens. But listen, I know you have a game. I don't want to keep you long. I just think it is fair to you that when things are said, that I believe
No,
are
we
not
are
so.
always available
Yes,
to
I needed to make sure that
clear
you
the
keep
ears,
exactly.
and we want our fans to understand what is happening. We are not hiding anything from the people of Santana, Jamaica, and the wider Caribbean. So I'm always willing and able and happy to share whatever information that I have with the public. So feel free at any time.
Yeah, man.
Sir.
All the best in the game today. I picked my starting 11 that I think can beat Portmore, but I am not the coach. I'm just a father. But
I also stay away from technical as well, sir.
Yeah, man. But all the best today. I'm expecting a win today, though.
Yes, and I say whatever 11 is out there, it's a Mount Pleasant 11, and we'll give him the coach 100 support. We trust his judgment, we trust his technical expertise, and we back him 100%.
All right, then. Thanks
Paul Christie.
Yes, sir.
Paul, I always see up on the bench when they're
Yes, sir.
I'm always see on the bench when they're at Dumbo. I never see up on the bench at Drax. All right.
Tell you what, it's different roles, different functions, and as such, I am the sporting director at Mount Pleasant at Dumbolin. I was the general manager. So
different role and different functions.
Different roles, different functions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Christie, all the best for the game later. And looking forward to a good result against Portmore.
I'm looking forward with a lot of optimism as well. Based on the sessions that were done this week, we should be okay.
All right, wonderful. Yeah, man. All right. So now, Unseen, what do you have anything that you want to retract, or you want to say, boy, you were wrong, or you apologize? Or you still stand by?
So we'll find out the information we want to find out, and we'll move on.
So you don't think you have a responsibility to say, boy, I was wrong to have acted on some hearsay information because it is not true?
No, man, about hearsay. The one we not talk about. The CFAS one was a hearsay. What me say was my what me think happened. I didn't clear it. Not a hearsay that.
So do you realize you were wrong, though?
Huh?
You were wrong.
No, I realize is the problem falls upon somebody else now. The problem got by somebody else though. That we realize.
So you don't think you did anything wrong?
No, sir. My job is to seek information now. If I even put out something near the go so and find out what the problem.
You think it is okay to put out something that don't go so just to find out what really goes so?
Of course.
All right, Auntie. Well, all right. So if that is your position, then who am I to challenge you? All right. But this is the big showdown at Drax. Like, how did these two? And I understand the need for both events. Why they never keep on Easter Monday? Why they didn't play the game on the Sunday, and then keep the event Easter Monday? I don't know. I don't know, Auntie.
But politics.
I don't know. I think this is not a good move at all for football. This is a big game. This could be the top of the table clash. I'd hate to know that the field is not in the best of conditions for the game.
It's not gonna be in the better.
You know,
JPL for move it. No, I go there.
But if the game is going to be moved, it would have to be moved today. And I don't see anything coming out. Games cannot just move like that, unseen.
But man, that's slackness still though. Rugby I play beside it and anything there. And I want to bag us up.
That's a different thing. The rugby is being played on a field that is not used for the game unseen. Stop bring up them things in a man.
No one if more present of the rugby too. Anyway.
Well, realize you anytime you figure it out, realize you just text me per Instagram and then we work on it. Yeah, me agree with your realize you. All right. But listen, so early in the show on the scene, because before I came on, you know, me have a couple of big brethren in London, you know, and they normally let me know what is happening with a lot of the European players. But oftentimes, but Fresh God, you know, say seriously still, I think if we do a different show, me talk about this, cause Fresh God have 59 likes on the video, Fresh God. You think we need to share them sort of good information here? You understand?
Likes of
Eh?
go.
Yeah, man. We can't have them big information here. If you come drop for 50 odd likes. Answer. I don't think that's right. 100 likes them are information here. People do the thing. Do the thing. Yes, but I mean very exciting news. So there are some players. So yesterday Cataract and I were doing a show and we were talking about realistic option. Right? The man said do a show without ad seed. Balakar. Oh, Balakar tell me if you call him. Balakar, you can call. Your phone too big, you can't call out.
Jason have a personal vendetta against me, man.
No, man. Jason on the personal vendetta. Balakar.
Jason, drop some super chat.
What go on? Me want Mr. Christie on the show still, but when me hearing calling, in case he get him,
yeah.
Argument and you know, look at chit chat. Man is man. That mug United game where them play the other night. Boy, we don't know. Let me set up and make a blood under, right? In I early stages, the Mara Phillips get a yellow card, and during the game, a be a foolish and fool tackle the Mara Phillips. I make the referee kind of have a little lenient because early in the second half, he make a tackle, and the man look for him and shake his head. One time, him take off. The only defensive line have, which is awful. You notice the game was left open, nobody did the tackle. I defender them after the step come forward and then get caught, then get yellow card and all of them things there. You see me? Shaquille there now. We did have a problem with him for morning, you know. They need to work on him tackling money. And so my time to think them too hard, they might go too harsh. They might want to go with the hand, they might go with everything. You need to change up that. You see me? Every time, not because of my bridging, I'm there in school. Every time when Nadia reach to play, you can see little calmness around my back. They have to go figure out how to play in a summer them title game. I get to me and say, man,
yeah.
They have to do that. And if Ricardo Morris make no creative, we don't get nothing otherwise. We need to fix them things there. Because it don't look good.
Yeah. All right. So you know me have a Mount Pleasant shirt for your Balakar.
We're not out of Mount Pleasant there much today.
Today? No man, Sunday. Easter Sunday.
Oh, so what's on the game in on today then they play?
Yeah, but a Freddie need to park it to play.
You sure? Or if military game gonna go show it.
Yeah man, military gonna probably show it.
Unseen, pick up yourself. Respect.
Yeah man.
You say you never see unseen.
Yeah man. Man is man love pulling this shit up. The Portmore team that go on good still enough.
Yeah. All right, Balakar, come me have go run it. Me have go run it.
I'm forward off I show you now.
Yeah, come here go drop some information and me just get from London. Me just well, not just, but a few hours ago.
Yeah man, more here to some.
Yeah. Big up yourself.
All right then.
Richie. Yeah, man. Cool,
What is
cool.
man for real still no? Portmore play ball no?
Yeah. You want me to drop the information or you want to talk about Portmore?
No
Which
man,
one?
go and drop the information. Drop the information. People want your information. They want them bash me.
All right, so people, yeah, so the person, they called me and he said, money is money, you need to get, well, him call me Beanie, and I said, because them know me from a ball name, he said, Beanie, you need to get excited. I said, what you talk about? He said, yeah, man, you see the Gold Cup squad, it took a hard for pick.
Only
Him
Beanie.
man say, right here now, you have 4 baller Beanie, that them Monday available for Gold Cup. Or whether or not the coach I go pick them Monday.
Them available.
The man say, may I tell you about man from Manchester, man from team like Everton. Team, you understand me?
Mm.
Yeah, I say really, man say, yeah man. Him say everything. Him say, listen man. When me say them ready, man from Swansea City. Him say them Monday available come Gold Cup. So,
Just say, you say a real a fax.
No, man, this is a fact.
Okay.
You understand me? Give me credible information to show me. Information, a winger from Everton, a centre back from Swansea, a centre back from Manchester United that they I want club named Portsmouth and loan. You understand me? And a right back from Manchester United as well. The man say, as long as the coach want them play there and they're good enough, they are available for the Gold Cup squad. The man say everything that them need, I got. Me say really?
It start out or it go start out?
No man, him say no man. I tell him man. One day Queens Park Rangers.
Man is my answer a question.
Eh?
You answer a question.
If what?
Then paperwork start out.
One done already, and the other 3 by the end of which month we didn't know. By the beginning of May, them things set.
So one done already. I'm sure about that
one done already. So the other 3, everything are just like you understand them thing the appointment. So
I'm not sure about that.
them players there. No man, may I tell you, man say listen, they are going to be here. Man say come Gold Cup, unless of course if injuries or something, but the players are got there. Me don't know about the others, but you see them 4 there, the man say listen, you can book it. Because what happened is that me and Cataract have a conversation, and Cataract say we'll get baptized if one of the players available for the Gold Cup. The player is going to be available. So people, Cataract, him say we'll get baptized. So Cataract I go get baptized.
You not left the room.
Eh?
You not left the room. Yeah,
you hear me I say? So people, Cataract, you can't get baptized from now. Me I tell you that. Nobody wait. Cataract.
What man is man?
Eh?
Out the way you say I one sure about
Brethren, me I tell you say the player them ready. Them I go and ask me I ask you.
One can say one done already and 3 to go. No Jamaica system set up. 3, 4, 5, 6 months after Gold Cup before them took them 3 already.
Unseen. When me I give you, if you didn't know, these are players who submitted before and had errors. May I tell you, so the man give me and say, listen, here are the errors, but the errors have been sorted out. He man say, right, I'm going to big him up, I'm going to big up the man. May I tell you, say, because this is a Jamaican who work in the London area as an agent, If you know me, sure you know the agent, because he come on the show already. The man say, listen, he must have a big up. He must have a big up, Ry Simpson. The man say big up Ry Simpson because him say Ry Simpson So big up Roy Simpson. Him say Roy Simpson is integral in ensuring that whatever needed to be corrected was done in time. The man said book it. Him say book it, man. So the man said book it. So people, like me say, barring injuries, everything good. Yeah, but him say, boy, you know, yeah. So I don't know. The right back they are got tough, you know, because the right back the right Simpson. The right back they are got tough, you know, because Dexter and this one of them player you play right back, you know. Centre back, you know, two centre back are coming, you know. Where I say you have East and Pinnock already, you know, bro, and you have Low already, you know, and then you get two centre back now, you know.
Well,
Then
I have Ethan more already.
you have a winger coming out. Remember, say you have Bobby Reed on wing, you know. You have Jamal Lowe on wing. You have Leon Bailey. You have this Everton winger, and you have Kaim Parish, you know, for the Gold Cup, you know, bro. The team are got tough for picking, you know.
I have other wingers who are trying to make themselves in the
You
team.
have all Sifa say this team are go hard for picking, you know, brother. The Gold Cup team are go hard for picking up.
It all come down to how consistent they are doing damage.
The one thing me concerned about still is that CDM role.
Yeah, man is well like nobody no want to send a CDM. What going?
No heap of CDM in a world football, brother. You can't find 20 good CDM in a world football, you know.
We need to start building them, man. Start building them, man.
So I think the Gold Cup squad is going to be very difficult to pick. You understand me? That means they see the players them. You see the players them who not actively playing for them clubs, them are going to struggle.
Who said what Ishmael King say? Drop Damian Low.
Yeah, Jason, I think so. It's a big problem to have. Big problem to yeah.
Why? I'm glad them come still management so we can move from this long ball business.
Yeah, but what I'm saying that I want it competitive. I want Leon Bailey no say if him not play good in can bench. I want Mikel Antonio.
I don't say that.
Mikel Antonio know that if him not play good, him go bench. I want Andre Blake, then I'm a goal and know say if he don't keep good, him go up on bench. I want Ravel know say if him not play good, there's a Omari Hutchinson who go take him game. I want know, you understand me? I want when name the left back know say even there's somebody I saw the team for run. I want Ethan Pinnock know say if him not play good, him can get dropped. Damian Lowe say if you not play good, you can get dropped. As someone want my team be. And you know, so when they get dropped, you know, must get back in at the team, you know, unseen. Because the man will take a spot, a drop ball. Yeah. So the team will get better, you know, when in every position you have competition. You understand me?
So like King
no man game not for safe. Me not think no man game for safe. Boy. And Jason, all the man them on the bench, fear Fred say if they don't sit down on the bench too properly, then probably lose their seat. You have to sit down on the bench in a vibes and not frowns. Because if you frown on the bench, and next man the right on the wings, take your space, you're gone like kite. Yo, right here now, I tell you
you go too far with Pinnock.
I'm busy with the next man want to say. Any player in any position must come in. Any player must come in and know say if them are ramp with game, even Ethan Pinnock who am I baller still. You understand me? Am I baller? But if Ethan Pinnock a slip up, if you know say boy, he must go rub the bench. Cause you know what that go mean? Ethan Pinnock go play better. You think if the Everton player there here and Leon Bailey look and know say, yo, this man playing at the same level as me, have better stats in the league than me. You think say him now go step up in game? Him not feel threatening now because who go take him spot?
Nobody.
That challenge him. Andre Blake in the goal must know say, you have some young goalkeeper Yo, if me snooze, me lose. He must bring him a game every time. Me I tell her that. Shamara have to know that if him not start and him go on, he must a banging goals. Yeah. I saw the team for run. That every position. Some man will start. No man. Manu. Some man will start out. You go start out now. East and Pinnacle go start, you know. But East and Pinnacle need to know, so you see, if him drop off, somebody there right there eager to come and play. That is why I want some of the top quality players to come in and decide. Players from in the Premier League. I want to have 3 quality Premier Leagues. Left side is centre back. 3 quality Premier League. Right side is centre back. Playing at the highest level. And Damian Lowe. So every man knows, say, yo, if you slip, you're gone. You're not comfortable. Because I believe that we there, the team, I go hard for pick, and every single player I go play harder. Me, I tell you that. You understand me, I'm saying? Every man, there should be not one player who feel like him have a safe spot. So right now, me want to find tool left side is centre back who are gonna make Ethan Pinnock fret all if him get injured. Because must say, boy, me get injured and sit out. Me want a man realize, say, yo, no sir. You know, me have a plan to take 3 weeks vacation after the Premier League season and ask the coach for a 1 week break before me enter into the But you understand me, unseen? Him said, no, sir, me cut it out, yeah, man. Me I take a 2 weeks instead because, yo, you know, here who I come join the side. Someone want my team.
One is one. I think this what really see what I say. In any case, real or factual.
What am I saying?
So Whisper can focus on Chelsea because they have no chance to play World Cup.
Is it one more ask is this? Me not really like, you know, me try to stay to them whole thing. But
yeah, true.
What is he doing now? Is he playing now?
One is one if I answer that I would tell you a lie.
All right, somebody is saying that no player from 4 and 2. One player, well, for the person who said that there's no this one. One played 27 games, one played 28 games, one have 4 goals, 3 assists. The one who played 27 games have 4 goals and 2 assists. So less games, you just say similar stats. Argument done. But it's going to be hard for if Whisper don't start playing competitive football. Where is he going to play competitive football between now and the World Cup? Because he can't get called based on being bought by Chelsea. He must play competitive football. I don't know at Chelsea. Is he at Chelsea?
I don't know.
He's in that.
What about our midfielder? What's his name again? Ravel Marson. Is he
Ravel will have problems. Same thing. Ravel will have problems. But here's the thing now. You also have to understand there's a difference between Ravel and Whisper. Because Ravel has been playing at this level. Whisper has not.
Yeah,
so even if you're going to give an exemption to the rule, it would be easier to give Ravel an exemption than Whisper. That's what I am saying.
We get to your say man is man, but I don't think no exemption should be there.
I'm saying that even if you're going to, it would be for Ravel.
But me I say we're moving forward, man is man, and I think
not only that, we don't have anybody who can like do what Ravel does. We have other players can do. Mikel Antonio is a better option than Ravel.
So basically, what you mean here, you're saying you try to open up a loophole for Ravel coming.
Me no know. Let me say what I say. No. Let me say it plain and straight. Ravel is going to be in problems just the same. That me say first.
Right.
And even if you're going to make an exemption, Ravel would be the exemption because he played at that level before. Whisper has not. When me talk about Ravel, what me say? No, Omari me did say?
So man is man. So here we say no exemption.
Then if you want to say no exemption, you say no exemption. Me not agree with you.
So why you want exemption then?
Let me tell you why. If East and Pinnock form is atrocious for the rest of the season, when Jamaica playing in the Gold Cup, let me finish now, man. A him go play. That is an exemption.
That
Even
will
if
never
his form is worse.
That will never happen.
What you mean, brother? People, may end the show, man.
That now got man is man.
Listen, me go end unseen. Me know, me your brethren. I just when you have the kind of discuss. Let me tell you this. Me no want disrespect you. So me no want shout. Me no want scream. Me no want get loud. So respectfully, me go end the show. No disrespect. Me go end the show. Because what you said to me, it go make me get bizarre. I mean, I want to do that. So make me end the show. You understand me? Because you go say that will not happen. Me not understand. Me not understand and see. You can't. How you say something will not happen? What is the premise for that?
Because you are use Pinnock because Pinnock are one of the best players so far in the Jamaica team. And you're gonna say no, if him now play good in a film competition, Jamaica still gonna use him at the World Cup.
At the World Cup?
At the World Cup. So I say like, why I use that now got him? Why I use that as an example?
What is not going to happen?
Him not performing up to par in his competition.
See, are you saying to me, Unseen, it is not possible for East and Pinnock to have a string of bad games?
But you make it look like I'm going to have a pure bad game for the rest of the season.
So, how many would you have to say?
What I'm saying, man, is, man.
You tell me.
You should not create exception for players.
You can't, Unseen, you can't treat everybody the same way. Do you know that?
Well, you create exception for everybody.
But there has to be exception because you can't treat everybody the same way.
That's the problem with Jamaica, man.
Unseen. So you believe that you can treat everybody Unseen. You believe that everybody must be treated the same way?
No, you can't treat everybody the same way. But in this case, man, is over the years. No,
hold
over the years.
Hold on. If you don't treat everyone the same way, isn't that giving exemption in particular cases?
In some cases, but in this case, we have been proven wrong all the while. In the football thing, we are get Ravel exemption right through.
All right. So you believe that Leon Bailey must be benched?
Of course, if we have somebody better than him.
No. So
give somebody a chance.
So here's what I'm saying. So do you believe that Leon Bailey should be benched now?
Right now, based on his performance, if we bench. Come on, bench. Start carrying Parish over him, or even Cephas. Bench.
So Cephas must start. Cephas are carrying Parish must start over Leon Bailey. Okay, cool. All right.
My opinion.
No, man, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So you think Ravel Morrison should be dropped from the team?
If he not find a club before, or play some competitive football before the Gold Cup, drop.
He should be dropped from the team.
Same for Whisper. Find something for them.
Okay. So if you find if there's no one to play the role that Ravel play, you're not calling him either.
There's no one, but we have people can play him role.
Who?
We have Hutchinson can play in there.
I just said to you, if Hutchinson is not available, like he wasn't available for Mexico.
We have DJ. We have the youth Russell. Much player we have, man, we have volleyball players can fill in position. we have Demario Phillips. Much player we have can fill in position. If you ask me the games that I'm playing for the country, the Trinidad game, and the game awful. You can't say that they know it up to par. Answer the in awful.
You'd pick Demario Phillips over Ravel.
You see you're gonna know.
No, that's what you said me. That's what I ask you.
I pick him because he's active and Ravel not active at all.
Okay. So
that's the reason why I'm not picking.
Here's where you and I differ. If Mikel Antonio was not active, right? and we're going to the Gold Cup, as long as he's in good condition, I'm still picking him over some of my JPL forwards. That's me. It's okay for you to have a different opinion.
You're the man about better than. It's not talk.
What?
Alright.
But not that you say. Me not understand what you're saying.
Better than. And better than me going on me I talk about him man, the active man is man. You know how football thing go.
All right.
If
So
you're not
Ansi,
active, you're not gonna play up to your potential, for your full
all right.
potential.
Let me say it again. If Mikel Antonio is not active, I would still play him over many JPL forwards right now. While I agree with you that Ravel Morrison needs to find a club, the level that Ravel plays at, unless we can find somebody who is able to play at that level, who is active, then if you're going to make an exemption, if you're going to make an exemption, I'd rather make it for Ravel than make it for Dujan. Because I think in his position, we have many other options. That's my only point.
No, me not no problem with that man, but me
But
different.
that
Me have a different point from you. No
Okay, what is
exemption
your
right
point?
across the board. No exemption.
You have no exemption.
Either you're playing or you're not playing. At different time now. I'm tired for your exemption again.
Anyone who is not actively playing should not be called. Okay. All right. Okay.
Out. You have too much player now, man. We have players who want to get into the system.
Okay.
You have some players who are active right now. We have scored some goal and thing and want shot opportunity.
Okay, sir. All
Watch
right.
football on TV, man. Work yourself into a club and then come.
Brother, me agree with you. Me understand you. Me not agree with you, but me understand you.
You are create. When me find out with you, man, you agree, but you create a loophole.
Me not agree with you.
No, you agree. You agree that him should find a club.
When Rafael originally played for Jamaica, was he in a club? When Ravel played for Jamaica, was he in a club?
You know, I don't remember, man.
He wasn't actively in a club.
I'm going to take your word for it. I don't remember. I don't remember.
So
because people have them favorite players, that's why them say them thing, I know.
Why? No, unseen. All right, well.
Them favoritism, that much of Jamaica football, favoritism.
Okay. All right, sir. I mean, your point is your point, you know. You understand me? So I remember when Ravel originally played for Jamaica, he was not in a club.
Okay.
And he did an excellent job. I believe that he needs to be in a club. However, if the players that are going to replace him, and there's no way Ravel is going to be in a club, I believe, playing before the Gold Cup. So that means, based on your saying, he is going to be excluded. When Ravel Morrison played his first game for Jamaica, Rob Simmons, he was not playing in a club. I'm not asking you, Rob. All right? So, there you go.
Hey, people, me talk about no. I know it start for our World Cup, and I think that next year. I know it start right now, a different thing, I know. When Algrims are on the thing, man is man, they're on the thing too as well.
What kind of man is man they run? Hey, man you call me name in a their own thing business. You know? No bother with that, you know. No bother mix me up, man. But I'm seeing, I can see so much loose things sometimes, man.
So man is man, I'll be there on the thing too. Come.
No bother with that, man. So many times you come on. Rob Smith. Ravel's first official game was Jamaica versus Panama. Ravel was not in Holland when Jamaica played against Panama.
The one I tell the realest youth, that be exception.
What kind of exception? What can I be exception? Tell me, when was Ravel first official game for Jamaica?
I did Saudi Arabia game, right?
It was a friendly, brother.
The
game against Saudi Arabia was a friendly international game. His official game. Brother, when I come tell me, say, which competition was Jamaica and Saudi Arabia playing in? Tell me. Tell me. Me not talk about friendly. Lord, hey, why the people them? Why the people? People not listening, man. Anyway, you see when the people them now listen, you know now. All right? We're not talking about his debut. What kind of Lord have mercy?
You're the man, some rather pick. Yeah, name players were active, who play good. Yeah, so
Ravel's first game, official game for Jamaica was when Jamaica played Panama. No man can tell me nothing.
People are too unfair. That's why Jamaica football can't reach away.
And when he played for Panama, he had not played one game for Derby. So I don't know. So tell me, let's go back. Anyway, Ansi, listen, you don't know.
Someone is man, how long was he for the first game when he played for Jamaica? How long was he?
You don't answer already. You know?
No, man, I ask you a question. How long was he inactive before the first game for Jamaica?
What? How long was he inactive? So we're going to put a timeline on inactiveness.
So I'm going to ask you.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is the point of the question, though?
Because people put time on it. People have put time on it for the exception.
So your answer already. So Ravel Martin should not be called to the Gold Cup squad. That's fine.
If he's not active.
So you think that Whisper should have been called to the Trinidad friendly games?
Man is man that gone already. I move on the future.
So based on your principle, Whisper should not have been called for the Trinidad games.
I don't want to answer that question.
all right.
Because they're going to create problem now with the answer. The answer I'm going to answer, you're going to look off the street. Hey, man called Brian. We have 6 minutes to go on the show now.
Oh God.
Good day.
But him can't answer the question because him conflicted. He can't answer that.
He might say he answer the question, we're gonna lock off the stream.
He can't answer. Buddy. He conflicted. But you know what I say still. Yo, you see the Ravel point still. As I'm telling you in the morning, there's some of the things that happen. It all come back down to a principle because with them be done to the president already. As what you say, when Ravel start playing with Jamaica, he never did a place with their base. Matter of fact, him did a local club. And he did it for some trial thing, a train. And remember when I time Derby never nothing could have signed player, you know, because of some school and the thing there. You get me, I say? The president's done to already, but me not see the man not pick him. The Gold Cup. Regardless of if we use him over DC or not.
Is he training?
And also,
is he training with DC? That's what I want to know.
He could be because he is a contracted player, you know. But them just not have him for the first team roster. So I think DC, well, I think DC doesn't have they don't have the USL team. But I don't know, he may very well be training because he's not out of contract. So
and because he's still being paid.
Yes, so I don't know. And if everything JPF wants him to come play, they must write to DC United.
For him to be released. And people are
Yeah,
saying that
because
he's
him
training.
still,
Somebody's saying that he
I
doesn't
don't
train.
know.
He doesn't train with the first team. Coach Binzi said he's training.
I don't know what am I doing now, but all I know is it wouldn't make sense to come up because Rebel is not on a what you call it now, it's not like a regular contract in there on a USL, you know. And one of them
Earn as a player.
a
Play and
GMA.
earn.
No, as in you know you have some contracts where me still remember the term alternative. I think a GMA or some one of them contract where them pay to top players. One of them contract I think you have, you know.
Okay.
So I don't know if a club will have a player for a contract, pay him a salary every month, and him just sit down in the yard and nothing. And he's a professional too, so I mean he must have seek opportunity to play football somewhere. Some would have expect that him would have do some form of training or be playing football.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I mean, I was thinking the other day that why him don't get a next MLS franchise, but then again, maybe it's a salary that is
affecting it. Some person are saying that, like Real Estate is saying, an inactive player should not be selected for Gold Cup. How do you see this thing? Are there some players that are exemption to some extent to certain rules? Or you just think that the rule should be the rule? One saying that
exception.
Eh?
I don't believe in the exception.
So you believe that
there needs to be a clear standard.
The rule is the rule.
Yes, but the truth is there is no such rule now in the JFF.
So let me ask you a different question. All right? Should a rule be that we should not play any high school footballers in our national team? Or it should not be a rule? What do you think? If you're not playing professionally, you should not be in our national team. Should that be a rule?
I would agree with that.
All right. Okay. So you wouldn't make an exemption if you see a highly talented high school footballer?
Morning. You see the thing is, all right, here why me I say no to. No, here why me I say no. You see in our society or just society in general,
yeah,
you will always have a problem when you create a rule and then you have some form of exception to it, because sometimes those exceptions are subjective, you know. Because whether or not a player is exceptional sometimes may come down to what a person may deem as exception. So what you don't want is you don't want to afford the opportunity for there to be any conflicting views or not conflicting views, but like blurring of the line. So me would just say, just make the rule and just go with it as is. If you avoid any form of, I don't want to use a word there, but you know what I mean still.
Okay.
Avoid any form of misunderstanding or, them things there. Because the thing is, as is our recent case now, the coach will pick a player who plays football, Many people agree with exceptional team, but at the same time, you have other people who think there are other players who are equally exceptional or should be given an opportunity too. And then you just have a big whole argument, and sometimes the person who gets it the worst is the player, because sometimes the player comes under a lot of unnecessary pressure, and it may affect them in a negative way, if you get what I say.
All right, so your position is that once there is a rule, there should be no exemption.
Not at this time.
Under any circumstance. I just want to make sure because I think you have rules.
If a player is not playing professional football, he should not be a part of the senior national team.
Okay, no matter how talented he is.
Yeah, but remember, if a player is not, all right, I can tell you now, if a player is not playing professional football and he's a very talented player, and he what you call it now, like, not the way I prevent him from traveling and stuff there, then there must be a reason why I'm not playing professional football,
Okay.
I mean, And that reason may be the reason why you don't want him on the team at this time.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that. All right. So unseen, you have a player, right? And he's out of contract for a month. He should not be called to your national team. So Ethan Pinnock. All right. Let me not use Ethan Pinnock. Cause you're gonna say why may I use Ethan Pinnock?
Yeah.
All right. Let's use Daniel Johnson at Preston. Summer comes, he's out of a club. We have a game in September. Because he's out of a club for that month, you wouldn't select him.
Maybe.
You see that example that we use?
Yeah.
Not practical because during the period where you are saying out of contract, there is no professional football being played at that time either.
Okay, so the league starts in September. He doesn't find a club yet. The league starts in August. So between August and September, he don't find a club. Whether I'm negotiating or whatever. But because Preston get relegated, he's trying to move to a next club. They cut him. He's trying to find a club. You're not calling him.
For which competition?
During that time?
Yeah.
For which competition?
Focus on trying to find a club.
For which competition?
For whatever competition Jamaica playing.
You can
If
focus
he is your best player in that position.
You focus like how we're supposed to focus on.
So listen to me again, all right? All right. So a player plays in the Gold Cup. August, his league starts. He is out of a club until September for whatever reason. You have a window in September. He was your best player in the Gold Cup.
Money, no matter with that. Money, no matter with that. Money, no matter with them extreme circumstances.
It's extreme. But it's an exemption to the rule.
So man, make him focus on him getting him job.
No.
Money, do you know why it's extreme? Money, do you know why it's extreme? Because you see the window in which you are using to set the players out of a contract is so short of a window that if he was at a club before and played professional football and him is now looking at a new club, that time that him out will not affect him being able to perform for the national team. Money.
So
you and I, money.
August is league start and in October, money. So he's out August, September. October you have a game.
Money.
Let's ask you a question.
Money's money all over the place.
Money. If the player is out of contract, whether them club get relegated, them get promoted, them become bankrupt, whatever the situation is, my boss. If a player is out of a professional football contract, he needs to go look at club.
I'm not saying that the player should not. The player should look at club. What I am saying to you, that within that, there has to be exemption because there will always be special cases that must be treated differently. That's all I am saying, I agree with you, except that you're saying that there should be no window for exemption, which I cannot agree with. That's what I'm saying to you.
But here what the problem, money. Here what the problem with the exemption now. You see the exemption where you talk about is a fair point, But here where you have the next problem now. At the end of the day, giving an exemption is always going to come down to a subjective opinion, money. Because, all right, we get the money, wait. Let's say a player, we have a club. Let's say maybe a club A player. For whatever reason, me and the coach now get along, me now work with him, and me decide say more out of my contract by mutual consent and go look at next club. And me stop. We have no money. To me, somebody might say, well, it's him put himself in a position deliberately, Don't give no exemption. While the next person might say, but and next man just out of football take more time, and me call him, You get what me say? So that's why I say money. They say the exemption thing.
But a lot of things also determine that. Listen, if for example, say if Jamai Topi and East and Pinnock find themselves in the similar situation, I would treat both of them differently.
Why?
They're not equal.
The football player.
No. Oh
They're
my
not
God.
equal.
No. All right.
They're
Listen.
not equal.
Here's where you
Bad
and I.
example.
No, it's not a bad example. Let me tell you why. It is also important that when we speak about players, we understand the level and the quality of their play. The level and the quality of Ethan Pinnock's play is so ahead of some other players that there are times, because all I want to get in is that there are reasonable situations where an exemption is necessary. And some people will not agree, but it is necessary. That's all I am saying.
Yeah, money. The contract for inside them say is TAM contract, targeted allocation money.
Yeah. A good example of that is, like I said, Mariappa. Eh?
Mariappa.
No, but based on your thing, Mariappa should not be called unseen.
They shouldn't get called.
Me never call him. Me
They
never
never
call
call him
him.
neither. He shouldn't get called.
Until him go find a club and a
I
play
would like give him a farewell match and congratulate him because he's a good soldier. You understand? And say yes, I do a
So you would
wonderful
not
job.
have called Mariappa for the
No.
friendly games?
I call him for the
No.
something game them, and then that's it. That's it.
So why would you call him for the Mexico games?
We wouldn't call him for the Mexico game. We call him
Why?
for Trinidad game. Give him a farewell
Me
match.
not call him at all.
That's it.
Oh, well. You have to talk about the Trinidad friendly them.
Yeah, I mean, I give him Trinidad friendly.
Maybe, yeah, as a farewell, but
Yeah, as a farewell, yeah.
When we have money, when we have other players who are playing a club like West Arden and them play there, who are playing week in, week out, brother, and I perform well.
So let me ask you a question, Unseen. So Ravel decided to come and play for Chapperton Maroons, and they play in the same way. You would call him because he's active.
Of course, he's active.
Based on what? Just because he's active.
No, based on him a play and him a get match fitness.
Oh, so
money. That's an unseen opinion, you know. You know what, money. That's an unseen opinion. You know want a man who just active, you know. Cause him not here play football to active. Him can go run up Mountain Spring active. You want him to play football and play good.
Ravel says, I want to make the World Cup squad.
Hold on.
Jamaica played in his 5 games in the JPL for Chapperton Maroons. Do you call him in your Gold Cup squad after that?
Money, I'm not calling him money. I'm not calling him only
What
because
you said, the man just need to play competitive. All right, go ahead.
Want to get competitive football, Reggie.
Money, I want him to play football to your club and play good. We are telling about him active. Money, if he can come to Jamaica, you know, and see a hotel and ride bicycle in a gym every day active, you know, brother.
You're active and different than what I'm saying about.
Okay. So,
still, Brian.
No unattached player should be called to the national team. That's the rule.
Brian, you're active or me I talk about a different active. Me I talk about match fitness and them thing there.
So Unseen. So if
but Unseen,
so me ask the next question, Unseen. So the player who is sitting on the bench.
Yeah?
Let me ask you this. The player who is sitting on the bench, right? Who is not getting much time but training, should he be called?
From which team?
From any player. Because remember now it's about match fitness. So
no.
Okay.
No.
So the bench player should not be called either.
I'm picking the team. I am picking the players who are playing professional football on a regular basis and are playing well. Because money, remember, you know, money, you know, you can have a player who are playing, you know, and not a player who are playing. Money, you have a player who play football and not playing, you know.
Brian, Cataract is saying, as a rule, no madman should be allowed on the YouTube stream. Do we make an exemption for Unseen?
No.
You said no exemption for him.
Get it off.
Get him off. All right, I'm going to change. I'm going to change now.
Man, you see you're unattached mentally.
What's
You're unattached mentally.
That's what I'm going to change now. That's what I'm going to change. Talk boss. Go on.
So, all right, so talk boss. So, you're also saying that the player who is sitting on the bench should not be called either. He must be playing.
Manny, let me tell you something. You see, in our Jamaican context,
yeah,
the amount of player we have, brother. We have played professional football overseas. We're eligible to play for Jamaica or might be eligible soon. It's hard to pick a man who just there one club and not get no game, brother.
Okay.
Because you have so many
right
options.
Right now. If you have some youth in the JPL I play in every week, and Mikel Antonio, I get one game a month, me I start him. Or him not get nothing. From him a train and him fit, me I bring him and play.
How we expect out of that?
Money, you go extreme because here what? If me not pick Mikel Antonio, I mean you pick Cameroon or Jamal Lowe or somebody else, brother. Who for them out there with professional football?
No. Brian, ask him what expectation with when me and Michael Antonio play one game for him club every month. What expectation are him in
What?
What's your expectation when you pick a player like that?
Listen, let me tell you now again.
You see, you no answer the question.
What do you mean say me no answer? What me no understand because what is my expectation of him?
We are going to pick a player like that who not perform. Just like we say, he must play one game.
Let me tell you why. I have seen players not performing at their club, but when they go and play for them nation, them perform. Like Richarlison and Tottenham. So not because a player is not performing at his club, mean that he won't do the dirt for his national team.
That's true. That's thing different too.
If Mikel Antonio play one match a week,
me never say one match a week.
One match a month or one match every quarter, whichever one. Me not have to come at JPL, brother. Because we have so many other players who would be playing week in, week out. And if they do well, and then me have it.
Alright, so here's the thing I know. If me have a player at Real Madrid and bench, and the next one I play in a championship and I start at the Real Madrid player play for me, you mad? You can if you make Real Madrid 18 in a Champions League, you're better than the man we are rub bench and we are start in a championship. But me I tell you the truth, at that time my opinion. Yeah, tell you about my opinion. If you are in the Real Madrid 18 every single game on Champions League, and the next one are starting at the championship, the Real Madrid player are far as because that Real Madrid player was at the championship club, you would not get any game.
That player that get game when he come off of the
bench. I agree with that.
Even if him not get no game.
Agree with that.
What?
He not get no game. I agree with that. You know why?
Me I tell you this.
You know what? You know why I not agree with that?
The reason why you're in the championship is because you can't make Real Madrid squad. If you can't make Real Madrid squad, you buy you.
You know why I not agree with that?
Tell me why.
Enough time is a player. They are top club. Them not getting a minute. And them loan them out to some second division club or some other club. And they still can't get the game, brother.
Give me an example.
Gareth
Bale, for example. Remember, Gareth Bale was not even playing for Real Madrid. And Gareth Bale still a start for Wales. And a score goal for Wales. Aaron Ramsey never da get no game at Juve. And Aaron Ramsey come and play for Wales. Be a goal for Wales.
When I say not get no game, I mean him not get 90 minutes.
Gareth Bale was not getting no game at all.
No, him not come off of the bench.
None at all. Gareth Bale did that. None at all. Pulisic for a long time. Never da get no game at Chelsea at all.
You have to prove that.
Never prove that Gareth Bale never da get game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The
man play all golf, brother.
Yeah, man, the money club did fall out, Anthony. The money club did fall out, man. I think they loan him to Tottenham back to Tottenham.
Oh, they loan him to Tottenam in that play and score a goal. When you got Tottenham in that play, Tottenam and score a goal. Anthony just relax the man before the man come to Tottenham, brother. The money there Real Madrid for a long time and now play, brother. Remember, okay, I never say nothing wrong with that. But I say when you got Tottenham in that score a goal.
Lord, when you get to that,
but you're not storing money money to brother.
yo,
You only
yo,
have talk, brother.
yo, the brother, yeah, that. Boy, Brian, may I tell us, if I am a forward sitting behind Benzema now get no game, and you then want championship team, I start, brother. I am ahead
Alright, so
of you.
money, that's a question. Money, alright, let me share a perfect example. Say, he's a forward there, Real Madrid, you now get the game. But I have a player in a championship like a Ivan Toney, where I score every week. You still not pick Ivan Toney, you pick the forward player with the Real
Hey,
Madrid.
if you go here say you go dead.
Me
All right,
ask the brother.
I'm going to give you one now. So who is the forward behind Benzema now at Real Madrid? Jason, tell them.
I'm not sure.
Hold on. We're going to show you right
Jamaica things still.
Hold on, man. Who is a forward at Real Madrid right now? Hold on, I'm glad you bring up the point now. People dead. We don't have mercy. All right. So there was a time when Cristiano Ronaldo and Benzema was there, right? Not true? At Real Madrid together. All right. So somebody say Rodrigo at the forward there. Rodrigo, the Brazilian?
Yeah, man, yeah.
All right. So right now, if you are by a forward, we can't use Rodrigo, you know, right?
Let's use Rodrigo.
We can't use him.
Yeah, by Ivan Toney, if I say I go.
No, we can't use Rodrigo because Rodrigo is a young player. So right now, me I tell him, Mariano, me don't really know him. Rodrigo is the right wing, so me don't really know that. But I'm going to use when Barcelona had Depay and Lewandowski. Depay was on the bench. And I'm telling you that more clubs in Europe would buy Memphis Depay over Ivan Toney.
There's more clubs in Europe.
Because
they are by Toney.
Because they are levels to this thing.
But you know why? But you know why still? Because Depay offer you more than Toney, because Depay can be beside as a winger too.
But that me I try. The point I'm trying to make to you is that though you are a starting player in certain leagues, Real Madrid is a Champions League powerhouse. So not just in your local league, they are in the Champions League. How a man we are playing in the championship?
And score 30 goals this season. They are picking better.
You have to be careful of what you're saying. Because he can come off a bench and play some minutes.
And see, let me tell you again.
Brother, if my other man will score 30 goals in the championship a top 5 league.
Brian, you're telling me, Brian, that you will rate a man in the championship over a man who is playing at Real Madrid?
Tell me who me I go rate. If you have a striker, when you're the championship, and he must.
Jesus, peace. Me cut off the call. I never realized. Brian, sorry about that. Cataract, you cut off the call, man. You know, so when money on the phone, enough to call Cataract.
No, man, me call you on WhatsApp. And I call straight. Brian, I'm a friend.
You know, straight. What you say about straight a while ago?
No, I said, I'm going to call you straight.
No, man, you have to call me. Brother, you have to call
the man straight, brother.
You have to call me straight, man. Me straight, man. You have to call me straight. What you talking about? Anyways, where's the
no, but your argument is straight. Marins, you're skillful with the gospel, you know. Marins, we were discussing unattached players. And all of a sudden, you reach to Real Madrid bench.
But Brian, no.
That is the miracle. So let me say this, man.
Yeah.
And be clear. Overall, as a principle, unattached players should not be called for competitive fixtures with the international windows. Player, and of course, represent Jamaica in friendly matches when we need experience outside of FIFA window when you can't call upon your talent pool. But I asked a question which you jumped over, so I'm going to ask you live on air.
Yeah.
Tell me one club in the World Cup that had a single unattached player.
Yeah, you really want that?
Yes, sir.
So, if I find one,
Yeah.
one team, one nation, that
One team, one country, yes. One
if I
country,
find
yes.
one with an unattached
Yes.
player, what are you?
Yes, sir.
More you wager something, I'm gonna beat you.
Wait,
Wager
no,
something,
but
I'm gonna go
wager
to the
we
World
have a
Cup.
discussion. I have one wager already, you know. I have one wager on
Well,
the
the one
line.
day you lose
So
already,
I'm not a gambling man.
you go baptize. But me want you to tell me now because I go through the World Cup squad, you know, and find one and give you
Go through
now from Saudi
Man is
Arabia.
man, a club him saying now.
No, man. He said
No, man.
he wanted. I'll give him some Saudi Arabian
No, man.
players. Several of them that were unattached.
Mhm.
You ready?
Man is man, a club the man say first, you know.
No, man. I no club he mean nation. So you sure you want to take this bet, Cranky? Saudi Arabia World Cup squad. Let me give it the name them. I ain't never that talk like nations like Saudi Arabia. You that talk more
No,
serious.
man. When you go down the line and then you will see who took the field.
No, me not talk about no.
No, but this is hold on. This is representing the country now. I'm talking about who took the field of play during the World Cup. I did not see
they went to the
one
World
player.
Cup. Hold on, man, me will give you.
I did not. Hold on. Okay. Well, you go look at it. Keep looking up. And our benchmark now is Saudi Arabia, people. That's where our team is right now.
All right.
Move again, man is man.
The other point, Manning, that is very important is that when you create exceptions, you create some. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So you create something in a team where someone else is saying, "Listen, I am."
I'm to Ketara.
Brian, call back.
I am playing with. There is a player that is not like any football or any training or anything at all. So you're
Ketara break up, man.
Call him on. Ketara back in time, good enough.
that spoke. Watch me. I'm gonna break up. I can't break up.
I want to give you a Portugal World Cup squad with unattached player named Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't even know the player there. But he was unattached. Cristiano Ronaldo, big old unattached, and him play and score goal per goal.
Oh, Christie?
Cristiano Ronaldo was unattached going into the World Cup.
He was not unattached. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cataract, people.
During the World Cup.
People. Look, you can't see it. Hold on the cataract. Hold on there. People, you can't. All right, no, hold on there. People. Mohamed Chosen, can't say Cristiano Ronaldo, World Cup squad. Go and say.
You can't answer that man is man. That can't answer.
People, look, how me this and for them sweet people. Lord have mercy.
Right. Yeah, you can see better now.
You seen it, people?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what the madness is. Hold on, let me tell you what the madness is.
Cristiano Ronaldo going into the
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
To the screen, right there, so carry back closer. Closer to it.
Yeah, carry closer to man.
Yeah.
Unattached Cristiano Ronaldo. See the unattached people. Him never have no club.
Man is man.
Yeah.
Man is man.
Yeah.
Was there? Man is man. Cristiano Ronaldo was unattached at the start of the World Cup, and he had signed the agreement with the Saudi Arabia club to take up duties at the end of the World Cup. So don't play games.
Cristiano Ronaldo was unattached.
Okay.
Me don't know where I try to tell me cataract.
Yeah, was
unattached. I tell you.
But it thing listed him as unattached. So the same way you're talking about. You're talking about Ravel.
When did Cristiano Ronaldo's
Ravel is still at DC though. Because unattached in the same way you're making a exemption.
No, I'm not.
Why?
No, man. Hold on. I said to you, Ravel is not an unattached player, you know.
Oh, okay.
Ravel is not an unattached player. I am speaking about unattached player. Like, let me do my daily thing. Like when Anthony Grant never played a football, we couldn't say to call him and say, go play that competitive match. You're not attached. You're not at a club. You're there to train and try to get yourself in that club. You get yourself in that club. You start playing competitive games. You get better. But if you take players that are not playing competitively over a period of time, your sharpness of your skill diminish. That is a known fact. It's called in my sport, it's called ring rust. You get rusty. It's not to say you don't have the skills, but the skills are not as sharp as they were. Your hand-eye coordination is sharp as it is. Your anticipation of where a punch comes is sharp. So it is to say, ultimately the coach has his choice. If the coach wants to call 23 unattached players and Jamaica qualify for the World Cup,
you're going
God
to the
bless you,
you're
right?
going to the extreme.
However, no, I'm saying, however, on the overall, you would like to have in a nation representing your country players who are active or sportsmen who are active who are at the top of their game. That's generally how teams do best.
Okay. All right. No, two fight you.
It's not on reputation. Otherwise, you should call up Walter Boyd.
Oh, jeez. Get
Because
her
the last time he played, he was great.
Get her up,
for Jamaica.
Get her up, man. Nobody
No, I'm just saying, you have to have a time when you draw a line in the sand. And as Mannings,
let the madness to me, man. Nobody with the madness. Let the madness answer.
If unseen, I tell you that, Cataract, say no good for you, If unseen, I tell you to leave. If a madman, Cataract,
let the madness unseen, man. You know, but I take it up.
You look good, Cataract. You can't make a madman, I tell you to leave madness.
Yeah. Leave the madness, man. One mad people. That's it.
There's one bad man. Well, Terry Lee don't call it. Look here. Seriously though, as the tool gets bigger and bigger, Mannings, man, right? As more and more professional elite players commit to Jamaica, it becomes more difficult to justify selecting unattached players.
Yeah.
So as we widen the net, in England they can't justify an England coach would be put on a cross this Easter if he were to select a player from the champion.
We are not there, Cataract. We are not there. Understand our context. No, we are not there. It's where we need to get to. There. It's where we need to get to, but we are not there until we get there. Anyways, hey, let me see me in the show. Me have a couple of calls, but me have to go call. All right, so me road. Me road I take a couple because we have to leave right, You understand? But respect, big up yourself, but unattached. Cristiano Ronaldo was unattached. You lose our next bet. You have to get filled with the Holy Spirit with the evidence of speaking in tongues right now.
One is one minute you have put Cristiano Ronaldo now, like you said. The same.
All right, let me take this next one.
Take a technicality.
All right.
Take a technical. Cristiano Ronaldo unattached. No make no sense.
Oh, jeez. Let me see. Hey, Cataract. The person let me cut off the call and then when we read the message that the person sent. Let me read the message that the person sent. Sorry, I hear Cataract, let me call you back. The person said, wasn't trying to, not calling in, was trying to cut off Cataract.
How would that?
We can't do that. For that purpose, let me call back Cataract, make him finish your embassy and then we close the show. Let me call back Cataract. Because the person is not trying to cut off Cataract. And then we're going to leave. We're going to end the show right there. Cataract gone now. All right, Unseen, listen. Unseen, final say to you before we close, because I have to leave right now. I have to leave.
Oh, you're running now.
Actually, go and drive still, but if you call it, not a problem.
Yeah, drive. Well, for the game today, I'm a Portmore, me I pick it up on this one.
No, you're not picking Portmore, Unseen.
What?
You're against
win the game.
You're against Mount Pleasant, so you're not really picking Portmore.
Yeah. But anyway, don't mind, but I need to try to get a because he's a fan and you know the football very well in the center here. See if I can get yourself in to help them with some something where you can't help them with. You understand me?
Okay.
And you have a powerful voice, you're a pastor, I have a YouTube channel, you can help them. I need the expertise. But don't make no exemption though. That club don't need the exemption.
All right. Sir. People, big up yourselves. 3 hours, 30 minutes, up and running. You understand me? Carifta starts tomorrow, people. You need to join me and Unseen. We're going to do a lot of Carifta stuff. Big up to every person on the platform. Really appreciate. Cataract, we can't tell you who the person never that try calling the person that try.
But man is man, look what Cataract right. As
Yeah?
a rule, no man should be allowed on YouTube stream. Who would exception Unseen? And in company stream. And
No. Well, what Cataract is saying that we should make an exception for Balakar saying that. What can Balakar say that? Phillips get called up out of the championship. Do your history, Cataract. Balakar said that Phillips get called from the championships with Leeds. Leeds are in the championships when Phillips get called to the national senior team. Balakar, you're sure about that, Balakar? Balakar, mind them beat you, you know. Balakar, mind them beat you, Balakar. I am sure sports. And I am sure that Phillips never called when he was in the championships to the national team of England. Balakar, take back that Balakar.
Phillips get
Balakar.
called up out of champion. Hold on, man. Phillips get called up out of championship to England.
No Balakar.
Hold on, man. Check in, man. This one, Jamaica just man. They can better one jersey on that too.
Balakar, go buy it instead of buy it. Go buy the jersey.
No. Antin.
Yeah.
He's sure about this. In that, remember saying, Jamaica did not call up. Hold on, man. Jamaica did not make call up Phillips to come play for Jamaica. England kept him right out of the championship. Remember, good man. Go and go do the research.
Balakar. When he got called, Balakar, when he got called, Leeds just got promoted. So I'm going to tell you. Calvin Phillips.
Which league was he playing in?
No, I'm going to tell you now. Calvin Phillips, England, debut. Our first call up. Let's put in Calvin Phillips. Google first call up. Hold on, Balakar. Hey, Balakar.
Google it, people.
All right. So, Phillips. Surprise England squad 3 uncapped players, including Garrett, the Nations League against Denmark. 5 months of who will be playing in the Premier League this season after Leeds claimed the championship title. When he was called up, Leeds were the champion.
Was it the league, Walana? The league never still play man.
Leeds are back in the top flight for the first time since 2004, and Phillips would now become the first player from the club to be capped by England since Alan Smith that same year.
But man is man, I hear me say.
May I hear you?
The championship never fit. The championship never
Balakar it was.
No.
Yes, Balakar
they
it was.
win the league with a lot of points.
Balakar it was finished. It was against Iceland and Denmark. You're very close, Balakar, but you're wrong. You're close, you know. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a very good one, Balakar, but yeah. It's a very good one. The league was done. The league was done, and he... No, here is where you're right. But when he was called, he had not played a Premier League game. That you can say. He never played a Premier League game. But the championship was done.
A good one. I'm saying.
Yeah, man, I hear you.
It's man.
Yeah, man, we are here.
No, they have two boats. Sure, but say man, I swear, can't tell man, remember?
Balakar, hold on there, I break up.
You create a
Go
done,
on. No, man. Balakar can't rate a credit, man. But, yeah, go ahead now, Balakar. Hello? Hello, Mr. Balakar. And get cut off. And soon call back.
We're going to comment section and read Cataract comment, man. I'm going Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That is a good one. Balakar, if you say that he had not played in the Premier League yet, you would have been right. Yeah. Yeah, unseen, so you're cut, you know.
All right, my boss.
So you say, big thing tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Carifta.
Carifta tomorrow.
Yeah, man. All right, people, listen. Big up for yourself, you know. Big up for yourself. All right, let me give Balakar this. All right. So the player was called in August 2020. All right. That is after he led his home club to promotion to the Premier League in the 2019-2020 season after winning the EFL Championship. They played the game in August. The championship finished in May. So he was called in August after the team had been promoted. But if you had said Balakar that he had not played a game in the Premier League, you would have been right. Big up yourself, Balakar. You dig up some stuff though. Leeds were not playing. Calvin Phillips got called in August. The championship was finished. Leeds were promoted. Alright? Big up on self. I am Money's man. That is unattached. That is unseen. So, big up on yourself, one and all. You understand? All the ladies. Yeah, people. Big up on yourself. Bless up. You understand me? I am management. This has been I Am Sure Sports. As usual, we say we are over and we are OUT out of here.